It was junior year of high school, and boy, oh boy, was I a speed demon. I loved whipping around my beautiful blue Camaro, and I just kept getting speed ticket after speed ticket after speed ticket, and eventually I was only 1 point away from getting my license revoked. And then junior prom hit. Me and my football buddies, we showed up in our Lettermans, and we hooked up with all the fine hotties Long Island has to offer. But there was one girl in particular. For legal reasons, let's call her Liv. Man, she was my high school crush. She was perfect. I saw her across the dance floor. Beautiful, sun-kissed, brown skin, amazing light brown eyes, short curly brown hair, and the most infectious smile you've ever seen. She was perfect. So I walked up to her. I said, baby, let's go for a spin. We hopped in my beautiful blue Camaro. I got to driving, and she got to distracting me. Once she finished that up, I decided it was time to put the pedal to the metal, and unfortunately that night it was raining like cats and dogs. We then hydroplaned, and we went roaring, spinning off the road. I panicked. I went to put my foot on the brakes, and instead I hit the accelerator, and at 90 miles an hour, boom! We hit a telephone pole. When I woke up and I came to, I tasted pennies in my mouth. I didn't know why. I was confused. I was concussed. I looked down. My hands were covered in blood. And I looked at my sweet Liv. Her head had cracked my windshield. She was not moving at all, and I put my finger underneath her nose, and thank God she was breathing. And then off in a distance, police sirens began to roar. There it was, Dragon, adversity. In that moment, I found out what type of man I am. You want to know who I am? Dragon? I'm the type of guy who grabbed Liv's lifeless body and switched seats with her, so when the cops showed up, I wasn't the one driving. In this life, there are winners and there are losers. The history books don't care how you get the job done.
The Top of Wrestling with your hosts, OGM and the Professor.
Good shit. Late to every episode. Late so much, I'm going to have to buy you a pregnancy test.
Bob Rude.
I want to be a podcaster. Yay!
His mama named him Kenta. I'm going to call him Kenta.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcasting school is really paying off for you.
You're so high you don't even know it.
Ahoy, my boy. You ready for a Scotch ad?
We don't know anything about him. The only thing he's got in his wallet is a bunch of names of whorehouses.
That's Flair.
Probably look like Jim Duggan digging the tape out of his crotch.
Benoit, enjoy my wife.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
Oh my God, mine just stopped recording. No, we're good. We're still recording.
What a dick.
I'd cease and desist me. I'd cease and desist me hard.
I need a minute to recover off that.
What kind of game is it?
War games! Let a war game!
You're our impressionist.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I've said in the last half hour.
Bark like a dog.
Oh, Jinx, holy shit. How did that actually happen?
Here we go.
Good Wrestling Day! It's Wednesday, and it is the Top of Wrestling. We're still in Season 5. It's that never-ending Season 5, as you know, and it's the 23rd episode. 23, lucky 23, like my man Michael Jordan. And, you know, at least when he won a certain type of accolade, he played the rest of the game and then, you know, received said award later. Never seen something like that ever in my entire life. And then you lose. And I'm not talking some when you actually lose. I'm talking about, okay, yeah, when you actually won your award, LeBron, you lost the game for the Lakers. So many players on the bench were so pissed off. I love it. I'm actually curious of your take. ODM.
I mean, I've fallen out of love with basketball a long time ago. I could give a shit left. LeBron, he's got to say he's one of the greats. He's up there with Kobe and MJ. You know, and I'm sure
he ain't as good as Kobe and MJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'm in no position to make any comparisons about that. I could really give a shit, to be quite honest with you. You know. That's how I feel.
I just
about
had
it.
to send you the one picture, and I'll put it up on our Facebook page. But I cropped LeBron's head on top of Lex Luger winning by 10 count at SummerSlam 93, because that's exactly what it felt like watching.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was funny.
That's a good comparison.
I just happened to be going into the office for work last week, which is why I no longer am supporting my 70s porn style. But when I got in, that's all everybody was talking about was, oh, did you see LeBron broke the record, whatever.
Pretty much.
Then when I came to find out they still lost the game, I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It's fucking hilarious.
And they stopped in the middle to do it.
The sad thing is, I mean, again, as much as I don't care, it kind of encapsulates his whole career, doesn't it?
It sure does. But one of the reasons I'm bringing up, a little bit of that and seeing the highlights all week was while I was at the hotel, I had TBS ready to go. So anytime I was able to run in because we were hanging at the hotel, everybody was they're like, well, let's go to the hotel across the street and have some drinks. And they put down the company card. So I'm like, okay.
That sounds like a dare to me.
So I'd run upstairs or whatever, and I kept checking a little bit of Dynamite and see what was going on. And it was a very meh show.
Yeah.
And you said that to me in a text, and we'll go over that in a couple of minutes. But the one thing I didn't get to see live, but found out the next morning, was what you heard that opened our show. And that is one of the craziest promos I've heard in recent memory. I mean, you always got to take that new step, right? Step forward. I mean, you got to be above and better than other promos in the past. And I want you to say to me, or say to everybody what you said to me.
He reeled me in. And he hit me with a left hook.
Oh, and you weren't ready for it. And I switched seats with her. And you hear the whole crowd gasp like, oh.
Yeah. Man, you can't top it. It's promo of the year. So, I mean, it's early in the year, but it's promo of the year. I find it hard to something that's going to top that, be quite honest with you.
No promos have been anywhere close to that.
No.
So, no, I'm with you. And I was like, no, I just watched a good one. I'm like, nope, that was the Wars. Sorry. Well, speaking of the Wars, we do have that today. We have No Way Out of Texas. That was the full name of it. I did remember that, and then they just shortened it to No Way Out the following years.
Yeah, well, I got some notes on that. Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I found the same thing interesting because it made finding it on the cock a little difficult. So.
Oh, yep. That's it. Was it under In Your House?
Nope.
Oh, that's even worse. So we have that, and we have the fallout on Raw, which kind of was the next night, but not really. It was on Saturday, but the Nitro happened on, that was a very confusing thing to circle through on the Peacock.
I'm still
confused. But I'm glad to say that I actually had my copies. Now, my copies, as I've talked about before, these rips tend to be OG versions, and sometimes they don't cut the commercials out. My God, getting to see some of the movies that were coming out back in 1998 and just getting it was just fun to see that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we'll talk about the Wars, but we also have this week's top topic. And this week we are talking about the top feuds of the last 25 years or 30 years, I believe. Some of the feuds that have kept going for multiple years, and I don't mean matches, like series. Like, so Okada and Omega, there's no heat. It was just being a better wrestler.
It was a series of matches.
That's not what's going to make the cut. Exactly. But speaking of New Japan, man, I'm on a effing roll today with my segues. This past weekend, it was New Beginning in Osaka 2023. And, man, okay, I thought maybe Jay White was maybe not going to leave. It was just more of a big tease of a heel move. No, he lost to Hikuleo, and it says that he specified it. It says it's loser leaves town. He still can work at New Japan Strong, which is in the U.S., and that's a little hint that he dropped, but I still think he's going to go and or sign with someone else at the same time.
I would think so. Yeah, that's definitely a point. I mean, it's hard, we've talked about it before that, we're not reporters. We're relaying third-hand, fourth-hand information that we're reading from other places that are reporting it second-hand. You know what I mean?
But we're doing it better than Meltzer.
Well, that's damn sure. Not a high bar to set these days. But, I mean, there's been so much rumor. Again, they did it last year. So it's not something that I'm going to be surprised if he shows up somewhere. But at the same time, until it happens, I'm kind of just reserving judgment and waiting for it to happen.
Well, at that show this past weekend, Tama Tonga retained over El Phantasmo. It was actually a really good match.
You know, I saw some clips of that on their social media pages, and just at a glance, Phantasmo kind of looks like Jake Paul.
He does. He really
weird.
does. And he's looked like that forever. Like, as long as I've watched him, it's exactly how he looks, and he does look like he's one of the Paul brothers. El Phantasmo Paul. There we go.
Oh, God.
New name for him. And
LPP.
Okada retained over Shingo Takagi. Mm-hmm. And then after the match was over, let's have Cena versus Orton, round 46.
Yep.
And Okada calls out who's sitting at ringside doing commentary, which they tend to do in their matches, or in the main events. They have a big wrestler come out and tend to be on the commentary booth. But Tanahashi happens to be there, goes up, and they both do the Rainmaker pose in a weird way. Like, they just both have their arms up and facing each other. And they are now, what could possibly be, stealing the main event spot from Mercedes Monet, my bad, and Carrie. So, that's going to get moved to probably your semi match, like the one right before the main event. Unless maybe they still do keep with it. I could see they don't have to put Tanahashi and Okada anywhere. They don't have to necessarily be at the very end because people have seen it. It's not like it's a big moment. There's no way Tanahashi's going to grab this championship.
Yeah, the only reason I would disagree is because it's in San Jose. It's in America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's more likely a chance that they would put it as the main event just because your American fans probably don't get the chance to see that very often, and to them, that is the main event. So,
yo, I went to the one in San Jose a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And I saw Dave Meltzer there.
Yeah, I remember. Uncle Dave.
What's crazy is that every match, there was, like, no singles. El Phantasmo was there, too. But there was no singles. Most matches were all tag matches.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And now everybody's getting some great championship matches. This is going to be live on pay-per-view. I go, I got gypped.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It was cool. Actually, I got to see a lot of people I always wanted to. The biggest disappointment for me was Tama Tonga wasn't there that night. And I debated because my beard was long. I'm like, should I paint my face? Should I do God style? But coming up soon will be the Tokyo Dome Last Love, which is Muto's match against Naito, and Okada is reportedly going to be taking on Kiyomiya from Noah, the one that kicked him in the face. Mm-hmm. But he did some interview, and I'm not sure 100% how, if he's just playing into it. And he's like, I never really necessarily agreed to have this match. But I think maybe it's storyline-wise.
Probably.
I would assume. But this Saturday is that Battle in the Valley at San Jose. And of the two matches we already talked about, there is one more match, and it's okay to happen because it's not in Japan. Jay White is taking on Eddie Kingston. I like that Eddie still gets and mixes it up in New Japan.
I mean, his style, it makes sense, yeah. I mean, it's not that surprising. Maybe that's kind of the crossover to to White showing up in AEW.
Ooh. What if he did it tonight on Dynamite? Leads right into the pay-per-view.
There you go.
And he just left New Japan. Could happen.
Never
Look at
know.
that. Good call.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Put it on the list.
Well, put it on the list. You know what else you want to put on the list? There are a lot of marks in this world.
Yeah.
And I know that we talked about it briefly in the beginning already, but the only news we really have this week... ODM, please read it, because I don't think I can get through it all the way without laughing.
Well, in a move similar to those around Universal Studios calling the police when Kevin Nash lawn darted Rey Mysterio into the side of a trailer.
Oh, that was so...
After MJF's stellar promo, apparently a lot of people in Nassau, which is in Long Island for those of you who aren't familiar, decided, this dude just admitted to some kind of crime. Maybe we should call the cops.
Vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, pretty much almost. And apparently over 300 people called the Nassau County Police Department to inform them that MJF committed a crime 10 years ago. Marks. Bunch of fucking marks.
Wow.
You know who else are marks? People who throw darts and pick a fucking NFL team that ends up losing the Super Bowl. Way to go, asshole. Looks like you picked the wrong team, dick nuts.
Wow, that took me a minute to remember, man. But hey,
Call back.
That's as far as I can go. Can't.
Yep. Oh no, I kept it subtle.
He's Chris Benoit on this show. Hey, I texted this to you on Tuesday. I actually watched Raw, and it's funny because I was excited that Becky Lynch and Bayley were going to headline Raw for not even championship, but just in a steel cage match.
The match that we never got at the pay-per-view.
Exactly. Oh no, it was just the week before on Raw.
Oh, that's right. It was the Raw 30.
Whatever. Yeah. It's WrestleMania season. Why wouldn't you bring a legend out for absolutely no reason? And she helps Becky Lynch win. Lita comes out, sides, because Damage Control was out there. But then, so Lita's going to be there. Interesting to me. I don't understand it. Unless you have other plans for Bayley at... Nope. Scratch that. Unless you have other plans for Becky Lynch and you want to do Bayley versus Lita. Who faced Lita in Saudi Arabia?
Don't remember. Don't care.
Oh, come on. You should.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then just don't. Done. Either way. Is she going to be at WrestleMania? Is she going to be doing something? Or was this just a one-off thing? Sorry, I couldn't be there for Raw 30. I'll show up next week.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know, man, because, you could probably make a compelling argument that she'll just show up to have something to do with the Chamber. But, it's a legend, and if they're bringing back a legend, they typically just run it out till WrestleMania. So, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't mind seeing Becky Lynch and Lita maybe tagging against Bayley and someone. It could be kind of a good match at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Like another legend to come back in. Maybe not Trish Stratus because we've seen it enough, but maybe a Molly Holly.
No.
Oh, man, Bayley and Molly Holly?
No.
Especially when Molly... all right, you're pointing your finger along.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
just say it.
They're going to do a backstage segment. Because the whole thing lately has been Edge grabbing Beth Phoenix's ass.
Yeah.
You know how they've been doing that lately? It's fucking hilarious.
I love it.
They're
see him
gonna
running
be,
by, a little tap tap.
Yeah, they're gonna be backstage. Beth is gonna walk off, and Lita's gonna be like, "Hey man, how you doing? Oh my god, it's so good to see you." They've got history. Beth's gonna come in. It's gonna be Beth Phoenix versus Lita.
I could be okay with it, and it's funny because
that's totally a Vince storyline.
That is a Vince storyline, but it's funny because someone put that in a comment on one of the threads I read, and someone was like, "Man, I wonder how shitty Beth must have felt to see that Edge and Lita were backstage together at the same time." I'm like, that could be a case for pretty much every room he's in.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was a CM Punk as well too. Like he hoored through a couple of them, I think too. Either way. Speaking of Edge, look at you and Beth Phoenix. After he tapped her ass, not that way. He
did that with Lita.
They opened that with Raw. They did that on Raw. Yeah, they opened Raw, and out comes Judgment Day. So I don't think we're gonna get him because I don't think we're gonna get Mysterio and Rey. I think for some reason we're probably gonna get like Edge versus Dominic at WrestleMania.
You could do that. They're certainly heading that way. Rey's formed an alliance with Escobar. So maybe Escobar is going to take up the flag for Rey and face Dominic at Mania. I'm not saying I like it.
Meh.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Well, so while Judgment Day is out there, Edge and Beth Phoenix throw out the challenge, and it's going to be Baylor and Ripley versus them this Saturday at Elimination Chamber. Ripley wasn't there, but Dom said, "Don't worry, Mommy accepts." Two best parts. One was as Beth Phoenix had him up in the air for the Glamazon, he yells out, "Mommy." If you didn't catch that, it's one of the funniest fucking things. Whoever backstage was like, and you got to scream it really loud. You want people to know that you're scared. You know what I mean? It was absolutely fantastic. What was even more fantastic was Damian Priest saying, and tonight, in my qualifying match, I will be going on to win the Money in the Bank. You know what? Got Baylor. You know what? They're making me so mad. They're making me so mad right now. Edge is making me mad that I can't speak. I mean, for my elimination chamber, he fixed it. But it was just really funny to watch. It made me laugh.
Hilarious, but
good cover.
Good cover.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your glory.
No.
That's probably what you were about to say. But it was really funny. He didn't catch it right away. He said, like, Money in the Bank held, and then goes, you know what? Baylor, he's making me so mad. Even I was like, what fucking month is this? What pay-per-view is coming up right now? Look, there was a lot of great stuff from Raw. Again, Raw and SmackDown are kind of firing on pretty decent cylinders recently, as opposed to Dynamite is going downhill. Rampage, I have not even watched in months.
No.
Brock Lesnar comes out, and all he can think about is Bobby Lashley. When he goes to the gym, all he can think about is Bobby Lashley. When he's in bed with his wife every night, after about, 4 or 5 hours, all he can think about is Bobby Lashley. Dude, the amount of cartoon memes of Lashley laying next to Sable with a cloud thought of Lashley in the corner of his head. Dear God, this is amazing. It was fantastic. But Lesnar pulled out a multi-million-dollar contract for them to fight at Elimination Chamber. Lashley, he didn't do as well, I don't think, as Damian Priest. He kind of fumbled. He's like, I'm going to have my lawyers or my agents, my accountants, he had like a bunch of things, but he was like, yeah, like my real estate agent. I'm going to have a look at it. I'll get back to you. Okay, so it's taking a long time to build if that's what they're going to do. But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think they're going to eventually meet up to talk about WrestleMania. And I'm calling it, man. Third match between them is the Fight Pit.
Yeah, that's my thing is, like, why are we trying to go out of the way to heavily script this? Why not just make this seem like a fucking shoot fight? These guys...
How can you not have it
exactly
just already done right now? Be like, you know what? Book it. You booked Rock and Cena 360-something days in advance. How can you not do that with Lesnar and Lashley right now and be like, our first match locked in at WrestleMania, a Fight Pit match between Lesnar and Lashley? You know that right there would completely sell out that night, whatever night it's on.
100%. And here's the thing, man. These guys have wrestled in the WWE system long enough that they should know how to do a fucking work shoot. You know what I mean? They should be able to pull that off without much of a fucking problem. You're going to have to ham it up. You're going to put some fucking Suplex City shit in there, some spears. It's not going to be a straight shoot. But fucking throw in some fucking, mat wrestling, some fucking chain wrestling, some catch wrestling. You can fucking do that. You can
make it exactly what Riddle and Thatcher did in NXT.
Exactly.
However, now Riddle did it with Rollins, and it worked for Extreme Rules. I thought it was okay.
It was okay.
But that's a wrestler in a fight pit kind of thing. But as you said, both of them can work, they can shoot, and they can shoot. So I think that together, yeah, my God, that would be an amazing thing to see at WrestleMania. They're shaping up from what you may get right now. And I'm going to leave Zayn completely out of it. We'll get to that eventually. But you got Cody versus Roman. You have likely Dominic and Ray, hopefully. You got
Ripley, Charlotte.
It's all signs are Lesnar and Lashley. What I'm hoping for. But which one did you just say?
Ripley and Charlotte.
That's the other one I was thinking. You got a lot of great opportunities right now. Oh, and the other rumored match is Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. That's what I've been seeing as a couple of rumors.
I've seen Sheamus
if
versus
that
Gunther,
happens,
but
man, Gunther versus the Banger Brothers. I mean, they're not that anymore.
I just don't like it from a booking perspective just because they're tag partners. I mean, I guess it's the whole, but one of us will win the title, and then one of us wins it, and then there's dissension. I mean, I guess you could go that route.
Neither is going to win the championship. They're both going to fucking lose to Gunther anyway, but they're going to, the whole point is that you've seen them brawl and fight with each other. They go, when it comes to time, the fighting. Think about what they did at the beginning of 2021. Brutal, hardcore match. I believe it was like Fastlane or something like that. Both of them had welts for a week. It was awesome.
Solid. Yep.
You put Gunther in there in a triple threat match. As long as Gunther goes over, totally down with it.
Yeah. I'm really, next year's WrestleMania is what I'm interested to see where Gunther's going to be at. Again, really, Cody, Gunther. I think that'd be a good fucking showdown.
Man, I actually, on the way back from Rochester, had our show up on Spotify. I'm like, I'll listen to it for a little bit here, man. And you brought that up again about how the guy at the bar was like, I don't think that would actually happen. No, I could see it, man. And they are building Gunther very well.
Oh, yeah.
Out of everybody who's come up from NXT in the last couple of years, probably the best. Rhea Ripley being the second.
Yeah, I mean, Belair. You got to put her up there, too.
That's true, man. I got to be honest. I hate to say that I forget about her, but I kind of do. But that's the problem with 2 championships.
I didn't know she was on the fucking halftime show last week or last night. Looks like Rihanna a little bit.
Oh, my God. You threw me off for a second. Oh, did you see my girl said that we're pregnant? Oh, I'm just kidding. Rihanna. Me and Riri. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Yeah, it was bad. Anyway, last thing on Raw, the Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman promo. I liked it. It was good.
It was.
The point of your dad said that Cody is my favorite son, but Roman is the son I always wanted. Good shit. I like it. And which leads me to one part to another. He gets in Heyman's face, gets him in the corner, and he goes, everyone's taking this personally. And, everybody's taking this personally, but I'm going to personally take Roman's titles. Heyman brings it back up on SmackDown when he opens SmackDown. And he goes, and Cody, it is personal when it comes to these championships. It was great how he just carried one to the other to bring from the Cody storyline into the Sami Zayn one. And I texted you. I said, bro, you got to see the opening of SmackDown. It was just great. Did you watch it?
I have not watched it yet. Nope.
You son of a bitch.
I know.
Couldn't you at least lie so our listeners think you watch wrestling?
I've already lied 3 times so far. You didn't even realize it.
That's awesome. I want to tally at the end of each show how many things you've lied to. Heyman is doing his promo, and he's saying about how the bloodline will be able to survive all this shit with Sami Zayn. And then Zayn pops in with the hoodie up again, gets in right behind Heyman, asks for the mic, and it took a good 45 seconds on how they did it, how he just slowly puts his hand out. Heyman reluctantly hands it to him. Someone put it best. Do you realize that the end of Royal Rumble ended with complete goddamn silence? Not one wrestler saying much and everything. For like 12 minutes was the end. It was all dramatic shit and stuff. That tells you where your storylines are at. And you take your time and it looks so good. And it is compelling. I like to use that word, right? Sammy starts breaking down everything about the Uso family. And he's like, you don't think... Or not the Uso the NOI family. Yeah. And he's like, you know that Jay, he's already left and gone. He goes, and he's had his run-ins with Roman in the past. You don't... And Jimmy, he shared a womb with him. You don't think he's going to go with his brother? He goes, and we've already seen what Solo can do. He's mentally getting in the head of everybody right now. And it was so good when he shakes Heyman's hand. Heyman puts his hand out like, here, let's shake. And Zayn just pulls in for a very extreme hard hug. Like an uncomfortable one. And then puts a mic up and goes, hey, Paul. And I was like, holy fucking shit. And I'm sorry, if you don't think that this dude is over as fuck.
Oh, I know he is.
You're out of your mind. And that he should be winning something. But give me a second and I'll get there. He says, tell Roman 8 days. Because that's what it is, man. It's tonight. I'm sorry, this coming Saturday is the play. So here is the next part. Where is Jay? Jimmy has to defend tonight against Strowman and Gunther. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Strowman and Ricochet. Which was not a bad match. But it looked like Jimmy was going to have to go at it alone. First, Jimmy is sitting there talking about Jay to Heyman. And he's like, he ain't answering my text. I don't know where he's at. Heyman starts talking about Zayn and Roman. Jay goes right back to talking about Jimmy. Or about Jay. Yeah, Jimmy goes right back to talking about Jay. And then Heyman answers with, do you think Zayn is... It was hysterical. Like, we're not even listening to each other. We're both just bitching about our problems. And just as they say that Jimmy is going to have to go at it alone, Jay appears from the fucking rafters out of nowhere. Crowd ate it up and went nuts. And it was, not going to lie, I liked it. I was like, ooh, okay, all right. Remember this? They call him Main Event Jay. He won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last year. He main evented 3 pay-per-views with Roman. I do like Jey Uso. I like the Usos, man. Mm-hmm. Where all this is going, well, they just defended the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Once I heard it was for only the SmackDown titles, I was like, okay, they're going to split the titles tonight. They're going to take this loss. Jay's not going to show up. Oh, nope, then they did. So now they still own both titles. A little later in the show, Sami Zayn is outside. Well, no, Jay and Jimmy are walking back, and he says, so are you Bloodline or not? And Jay goes, man, I don't know, and leaves. And then Zayn ends up seeing Jay outside near the trucks and going, hey, I want you to know it meant the world to me what you did last week, or a couple of weeks ago at the Royal Rumble walking out. I know what you did. And Jay, I acknowledge you. I go, oh God, it's so good. It is so good. Shit, dude.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There's rumors that Sami Zayn's going to be using his old music, Worlds Apart, I think it's called. There's rumors he's going to go back to that music for an Elimination
Probably
Chamber.
just for the chamber for the night.
Who knows?
Are you talking about the...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one, yeah.
And then to close out the show, Paul Heyman goes to Jimmy and says, hey, I got off the phone with Tribal Chief. And he says, next week, both you and Jay, you don't need to come to work next week. Just stay home during SmackDown. It's funny.
Clever.
I know. It's funny the things that you see on TV. Mm. Obviously, pointing out Zayn having conversations with Jay. You know what I mean? Things like that. But interesting to see where that goes. Didn't say anything about Solo, just the Usos.
No, you know why, right? You know why they're staying home. Elimination Chamber's in Montreal, so the following show is probably going to be in Canada where the Usos can't go.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's why.
I forgot. I'm an honorary Us, too. No shit. Okay, that makes sense. Wow. Yeah. Thank you, which means that, because Elimination Chamber's on Saturday, which definitely means SmackDown is going to be in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But, ooh, good job. Okay, well, besides that, also, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler return and beat the shit out of Natalya and Shotzi. Been rumors that Rousey and Baszler may be taking on the tag team championships at some point. If that is true...
Took you 2 years long enough.
thank you, but do it, and they don't lose them for at least a solid year and a half.
Yeah.
But make it credible.
100%. And fine when you do finally take the titles off of them, make sure it's worth it.
Thank you.
Those titles are kind of worthless right now anyway.
I don't even know who's holding them right now.
Bro, at one point, Rhea Ripley and Nikki A.S.
Oh, that's right.
were fucking
Hey,
tag titles.
Speaking of ladies, did you happen to see that your girl Nikita Lyons is out? She tore one of her cheeks.
Yeah, well, I told her to go easy, but
all right, I'm gonna give you my. Well, no, let's talk AEW, and then we'll talk about this Saturday night. Well, fuck it, let's talk about this Saturday night, man. This Saturday night is the Elimination Chamber, and we got 4 matches lined up so far. The impending Lashley Lesnar. It's likely just going to be they show up and just start punching each other with no ref or anything.
No contest.
That leads to Mania. Yeah. The number 1 contender for Raw Women's Championship at Elimination Chamber is Asuka versus Liv Morgan versus Nikki Cross versus Raquel Welch Rodriguez Gonzalez versus Carmella versus Natalia. So Asuka.
Yeah.
And who's the champion on Raw?
Belair.
Bianca?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that match, I guess. It could be different.
Should be good. I mean, I always liked Asuka's work. I like Belair. Let's see what they can do. Seems kind of throwaway-ish, but Asuka's just getting back, so, let her get in there. She doesn't have to win. Put Belair over and go from there.
Well, a little correction. Last week, we spent about a good 5-10 minutes talking about, well, what if this person wins it? And what if Sammy wins the chamber and he comes in and blah, blah, blah. No, it's for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah.
It's Austin Theory defending against Seth Rollins, Gargano, Damian Priest, Montez Ford, and Bronson Reed. So obviously it'll be Montez Ford winning this one.
You think so?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Theory retains. I still think it's probably going to be, the other rumor, Cena and Theory at WrestleMania.
Yes, I've heard that.
For the U.S. Championship. Think about this. He wins this championship match defending against 5 guys. I'm the greatest U.S. champion of all time. Yada, 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 yada. That's pretty much all he's got to do. And then,
yep.
Kind of writes itself.
It does, unfortunately.
Edge and Beth Phoenix. Yeah. Edge and Beth Phoenix will be taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. And here is the championship match. You got Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. What are your thoughts on how it ends? I have a very big theory set to go.
Well, they booked it to get here properly. It's in Montreal. Canadian crowds are crazy as fuck to begin with. You add Sami Zayn into the picture, the place is going to pop when they hear his music alone, let alone how they build the match, which I'm sure they're going to do well. I think Roman's going to retain, and I think you're going to see the bloodline start to crumble, and Sammy's going to be happy with that moral victory. That's my call.
Okay. I think Solo gets involved because he's allowed in Canada.
Yeah.
And they keep that guy bubble wrapped. And I think this, okay, I want it. I want him to win the championship.
Is it for both?
Not gonna, and I do. It is.
Okay.
If it was for one, you got a shot.
Yeah.
But we don't. I don't think it's going to happen as much as I want it to. Now, what I will accept and I think is going to happen, Solo will get involved. Who have we not seen for quite some time?
I have no fucking clue.
Kevin Owens.
Oh, well.
We haven't seen him since
then, yeah.
Yeah. Since Rumble.
Yeah.
You know who else is from Montreal, Quebec?
Yeah.
Not only that, I think what will happen is just that. Owens is going to take care of Solo. He's going to do something that can distract Roman in the corner. Haluva kick. Pin 1, 2, 3. dusty finish. Another ref comes out, or that ref that pinned, like let's say that ref that did the pin, that's your second ref because the first one got taken out. And that first one that got taken out just happened to be looking up at the monitor at the exact time that you did that pin. Restart the match. Roman takes the championship. You get your dusty finish in Montreal. The place will fucking explode. And then you take it away from them. And then they won't get as mad.
Oh, I think they're going to be fucking furious. I think they'll be furious. This is so hard because there are so many different ways this can go. And, you know, especially with it being in Montreal, it kind of adds that air of, man, he might actually fucking do this. But it's going to suck because you can't derail the Cody thing. I'm sorry. I think the Cody thing.
That's the issue, is that you shouldn't have Cody say anything about Roman calling a shot or anything. He should have been like, in the man that I face after the chamber, blah, blah, blah. That's where you should have went. As soon as he started saying Roman, now you got Heyman involved, all of this Roman shit, it's a stupid inevitable thing that Roman goes over Sammy, and you shouldn't have done that. You painted yourself in a weird corner.
What if he fucking Roman last minute? There's going to be a fucking change. This isn't going to be for both titles. This is going to be for one title.
You don't deserve both championships.
And then fucking he loses one at Chamber and he loses the other at Mania.
Which is something I called a long time ago would take one. I said he's going to take one championship before or at Mania. I said it'd be night one, then him versus Cody night two. I don't know, man. Either way, I think there's a lot of options. And if time does allow us, we will be syncing up on the Peacock network this Saturday night, and we will be recording just the main event with each other because I don't need to really see much of the rest of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably have it on the background or on my phone or something, and then settle down when it's time for the main event because the chamber matches I give two shits about.
Yeah. At least they learned to stop putting all your main event stars in the chamber match right before WrestleMania.
Right.
Kind of. I don't know. Actually, a lot of these people, I mean, you don't want to lose at WrestleMania. Do you really want to lose Seth Rollins? Or I mean, I really don't want to.
I mean, Seth Rollins, honestly, if you look at his fucking win percentage, it's probably around 50%. So it's not like losing's going to hurt him. True.
Well, the only thing we didn't talk about was AEW. And I know that you and I said it was kind of a meh show, and it was. They didn't go the obvious route with Billy Gunn.
Right.
But they did have the Guns win the championship.
I don't fucking get it.
I do not get it either.
Yeah.
I did send you my idea, my prediction.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. No, I said it to you before I even read other people's tweets. But I did see, or I had said to you, they already have a perfect history with FTR. And because they're the ones that jumped FTR after their final Briscoes match. And, you know, they were the ones that set them up with the Briscoe match because the Briscoes couldn't be on the TV at the time. They fought the Guns on Dynamite a couple of times. I think it would be a triple threat at Revolution coming up. And then the Acclaimed have their rematch. FTR gets in there. And then I end up seeing the Guns do a tweet holding the titles. And they wrote, like, Top Guns out or some shit like that. Kind of funny. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so it'll be interesting because there's been all this talk about basically FTR maybe sitting out the rest of their contract and then who knows what's going to happen to them. But there's a lot of speculation that, yeah, FTR just comes back and the Ass Boys are just your transitional champions, which is hilarious because basically the Acclaimed have become transitional champions. So I don't know. It's so hard to fucking have any investment where we can be happy that the world title's on MJF, and hopefully it stays that way. The tag titles have been a fucking joke. The TBS or TNT title's been a fucking joke. It's almost like, well, it's our TV title, so it can change hands every week. I mean, it doesn't really need to. You can let somebody hold it for like a couple months. So I hope that this was just a shitty way to get the titles back on FTR. Because I guess the fucking Bucks don't care because now they have their trios titles. We don't want the tag titles. We have the trios titles. Me.
Well, they are carrying on, my wayward son.
So
I'll boo myself later. I'm gonna go look in the mirror and do it.
Hey, there are rumblings that Punk could be back soon. They're still talking about it. You never know.
Sent you a meme.
What if?
And it was Cody sitting at the Mountain Dew press conference table, and he says, "I'm young, I'm energized, I'm in good shape, and I work with fucking adults."
Imagine that. It's a fucking 180, man. Cody saw the writing on the wall.
I'm not gonna lie, how you wrote it, you go, look at, I don't want to be a mark, but did he actually say this? No, fucking
dude, I'm telling you, just imagine. Okay, again, fantasy booking, real life taken out of it. We know it's very unlikely, but let's just say, just for the fucking shit of it, that fucking FTR does win the tag titles. Elite goes out there. They say they win. They retain in a match against whoever they're going to face, right? And FTR comes out and he goes, "Hey boys, I see you don't care about these anymore. You only seem to care about those now that you and your buddy Kenny are back together. How about we get a partner?" And then Punk comes out. Wishful thinking.
Definite hardcore fantasy booking.
Yeah.
But it's also something I think I kind of... Well, I said I would have had Punk and FTR in that trios tournament to begin with.
Sure.
You know. I don't know.
Or Punk just goes straight after Omega.
Let me just ask this. Yeah, no, he's got to give him a hug, man. He saved the dog. Let me ask you this question. What if Punk 100% knew when he won that match, my tricep is torn?
Mm-hmm.
You had 15, 20 minutes minimum before they started that press conference, that media scrum. What if he went to Tony and was like, "I'm hurt. I'm about to be out. I'm about to do a work shoot right now."
So he's definitely
That's my only theory. I'm hoping, because I'm saying if he comes back, then that's what happened.
He has the wrestling aptitude to do it. My concern is that there's no shortage of people that say he is not the easiest guy to work with. So, which maybe made this an easier thing to sell. I have a hard time thinking that the Bucks and Omega would be able to keep it under wrap. And again, it's just disappointing because I want to like CM Punk, and it's hard to know who to listen to just because there are conflicting reports. There are some people saying he is amazing, and there are some people that are just like, he's a fucking douchebag. And honestly, sometimes you can kind of see him being a douchebag. It wouldn't come as a surprise.
Yeah, but you know what? Do you think Kevin Nash wasn't a douchebag backstage? Do you think Triple H and Shawn weren't douchebags backstage?
100%, yeah.
Everybody was unbearable at some point. I'm sure Kurt Angle was a dickhead in TNA when he was Perk Angle.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
that's good.
Everybody has got their moments, but you can't. I want to fucking believe it's a work shoot.
Call me Dick.
But I don't think it is.
Call me Mulder.
I'm hopeful.
I want to believe.
Yeah.
Took you a second there.
It did. It took a sec. Well, Daniel Bryan. Jesus Christ, I did it, man.
Yeah.
I haven't said that in a while. Bryan Danielson defeated Rush, and now he is set to face MJF at Revolution in the Iron Man Championship match. Now, one of my favorite things is that Ricky Starks Action Jackson going on against that Garcia Guevara Gauntlet Challenge thing, which took place at like halfway through the show. Jericho sat at ringside the entire time in a lucha mask and a Scissor Me Daddy t-shirt and gave the Judas effect to, I believe, Ricky Starks. And it's funny because after he did it and he started coming over the barricade, I'm like, it took him to take the mask off for the crowd to actually go, "Oh!" I was like, it's pretty goddamn apparent. I mean, like, who else do you think it is? Everybody else is out here right now. Even Hager.
Right. And and that fucking voluptuous body of his is kind of hard to miss. He's become. I don't know. I lost it. I was going somewhere with it.
fatter in my mind.
Looks like he ate Daddy Magic.
But how did someone sit next to him all night? You had to have been like, "Hey, man." Like, I don't know. Look at him.
the first
biceps alone coming through a shirt.
Well, if he said something, you idiot.
He probably didn't even talk.
Yeah, he probably didn't.
He even had a foam finger. He did look like one big AEW mark, and probably no one talked to him. They're like, wow, this guy's a fucking geek.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man, oh, man. Well, I am ready for this week's Bring It to the Table.
Just bring it, bitch! Oh, my God!
So I had to leave Wednesday morning at like 5:30 from where I'm at here to get into Rochester, start working, stay there all day, and proceed to drink and, hang at the hotel all night. But that's neither here nor there. On the way there, I decided, all right, I got to put something on that keeps me awake, something that has me up. I don't feel like a podcast because sometimes it can be kind of dry. I'm like, stand up. So I got Netflix on my phone, and I was like, oh, what can I do? Joe Rogan. He has 2 different ones on there, and I hadn't seen one of them, and I'm like, all right, this seems pretty good. It was Triggered. And goddamn, almost went off the road laughing. Not just multiple times, but he talks about how he goes, I got in trouble for saying something I didn't even know I said. He goes, I said something on the podcast with Tony Hinchcliffe or whatever his name is.
He's a wrestling fan.
And he goes, exactly. And he goes, and I said pro wrestling is gay. And he's like, I don't even fucking remember saying it. And then he goes, people are like, oh, he goes, I got nothing but like misspelled hate messages. All these people yelling at me and having for my head. And he goes, but you don't understand. I grew up on Jimmy Snuka, Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan. And he goes, who doesn't like Ric Flair? And he puts the mic at the crowd. The whole crowd goes, woo! And he goes, we didn't rehearse that. He goes, the guy has his own sound that exuberates when he's around. And he goes, I'm down with wrestling. But what word would you like me to call something that's gay if I'm not allowed to use the word gay? And Tony was like, let me tell you what. Let me have you sit down, watch him wrestling. And I'm like, it's me. That's something I would do. But let me show you some stuff. Maybe you'll like it. He goes, first thing I see is a guy with Speedos on and shaved legs with boots that come up to his knees. The other guy is wearing a leather mask. What the fuck are you showing me here? And he goes, in any other world, that guy is going to suck some dick with that mask on. He goes, outside of that ring, that's gay. Dude, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, I'm really gonna run off the road with this. I don't know, man. It was great. But I mean, obviously, he's a wrestling fan too. I mean, like he's
he always talks.
But of course,
yeah, big time.
And then his other stand up, he talks about Brock Lesnar too.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, I couldn't stop laughing. And he's like, in any other world, that guy wearing that leather mask is there to suck some dick.
Hard to argue with that.
He's not wrong.
Yep.
Like, how do you explain that to people? Be like, just get away from what they're wearing right now. Don't worry about the leather pants. They have little tassels. It's fine. He's a really good Japanese wrestler, I promise. What are you bringing to the table this week?
Well, I've mentioned that, in our bowling league, there have been a lot of lookalikes. I sent you the picture of the guy that looks like Bret Hart. Hilarious.
Yep.
Another guy there that looks like Goldberg that shows up from time to time. And the 2 Stone Cold brothers. Well, bowled with them this past week. I'll call them out by name. I doubt they're listeners. I did not plug the podcast during bowling, but I am definitely going to this week.
So they're definitely not listeners?
Yeah, I know, probably not. But Mike and Max, they could almost pass as identical twins, but they're not. They just look very similar. But yeah, dude, Austin lookalikes, shaved head, gold chain, goatee, dollar store, very, very, very thin. But it was funny as fuck because, we've established that we're both wrestling fans. I wore my Bullet Club shirt once. I think one of them did once. So I don't remember if it was me or one of them that got the strike first, but one of us, hit a strike. And I come up, and I go to throw up my fist for a fist bump, and he's like, no, that's not how we do, and he throws up 2 sweet. So all night, we were doing 2 sweet every time we did good. At one point, he did I think he did like the Jeff Jarrett strut. At one point, he comes up, I go, hey, yo, and he started doing the airplane, and we both did that at the same time. So it was just cool. We were marking out, the whole time. It was good. Bowling's usually cool because everybody's pretty righteous, and you high five, fist bump people that are even playing with you, on the lane next to you. It's a good time. This kind of just took it to the next level. So pretty cool. Cheers to you guys.
I was in a league a couple of times. One of my favorite ones was there was this team that if all 5 guys in that frame got a strike, they would go, "Oh, strike to the bar," and everybody had to go to the bar. But if you were the only one that didn't get the strike, they would call you out and you had to go buy the drinks. And I'm like, so you're pretty much just drinking every fucking frame. That's fine.
Yeah.
And it was like, I had a system too. Believe me, mine was chicken nuggets.
Yep, chicken nuggets, and I'm the only one that drinks on my team. So I show up with a pitcher, and everybody's looking at me like, "Is that just for you?" I'm like, "Stop being a bitch."
Stop being a bitch. It's funny because you have this. You're saying the movement after you get a strike, things like that. You do the 2-sweep. No bullshit. You know when Hall does the arm swipe, the finisher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like both arms. Like, Like it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to describe over the air.
Yep. It's over.
If I get a strike, that is my move, though.
Nice.
That's what my move was in the thing, because I was never getting them, and then finally one day I did it, and I did it. My whole fucking team just started laughing. They're like, "What's that?" I go, "Because they all went down like
Yep.
that, all of them."
There you go.
It became my
Do the
move
foot
for
stomp.
some weird reason.
I almost thought about doing the Bret Hart thing, but I don't know if anybody would have got it because it's just him with his hands out like this.
Is he showing us his dick? Look at these hips. Look what these can do. You like what you see? Yeah. All right, let's go to the wars.
You gonna just skip this day in history?
Tight. tight. Make 7. All right. You are right, man. I absolutely forgot about it. I'm not going to skip it. We have a new segment. On this day in history, Hulk Hogan called someone a brother. Now, let's go to the wars.
Marty, you've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Wait a minute, Doc. What are you talking about? What happens to us in the future? What, do we become assholes or something?
Give me a hell yeah. You want a war? You're going to get me.
Mick Foley is going to win their world title.
Has been paid for by the New World Order.
Come on, Vince. Step into the ring.
My God, the battle lines have been drawn. D-Generation X invades WCW tonight. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Have a nice day. We got new work for ya. I want you to know, Brett, you still have a friend in this business. I watch your back anytime, anywhere, brother. In fact, Hulk Hogan, if you're out there, if you want a piece of this, man, go through me.
Oh, that's Brian Adams
Hey,
in the
Brett.
ring.
Let me give you a hand, brother.
Oh, wait a minute now, just a second. This man, we know this man from the past. No secret about it. He is none other than Brian Adams. Hey, no!
He was holding on to Bret Hart, and he held on to Bret Hart as the NWO came in.
Gonna set up this. Look at that, Brian Adams is wearing an NWO t-shirt.
I guess there's a new member now, huh?
I guess there is.
Now, I know that, being that it's the wars, we always start with the pay-per-view that leads into it before we hit your Raw and Nitro. But as you heard from the sound clip, Brian Adams, that's right, the former Crush. I mean, come on, shows up on Nitro. Might as well just come out wearing the NWO shirt. I mean, did we have to even do the song and dance?
Yeah.
But cool to see him there. I've always liked him, and that's where we're going to get the team eventually of him and former
Wrath.
Adam Bomb.
Wrath, yeah.
Yeah, Chronic.
Yeah,
Hey, we covered Brian Adams not too long ago.
we did. Yeah.
In a segment, yeah. All right, hey, man, let's get into it. No Way Out of Texas. It was the day after Valentine's Day, exactly 25 years ago today.
Ba-dum-bum.
Now, if you bought this pay-per-view like that boy's family did for him, You were there because you were ready for an awesome 8-man anything goes match. Because you knew it was going to be a badass match. Kind of, there are some parts that were and weren't, but bait and switch.
Yeah, oof.
But we'll see. Did it deliver? Did it not? Let's get into it. It was No Way Out of Texas, and I believe this was in Houston.
It was in... I thought Raw was in Houston. This was in... Actually, no, they might have both been in Houston. Yeah, they might have both been in Houston. So this one's weird because it's technically an in-your-house, but they didn't use any of the in-your-house graphics. And if you go on Peacock, it's not listed under in-your-house. As a matter of fact, the last one that's under the in-your-house banner on the cock is the DX one. This is actually listed under No Way Out. Fun story, there is no Way Out 99. Doesn't return until 2000.
There is no basement in the Alamo.
There isn't. And if you know that, if you were in fucking Houston, it's close enough to San Antonio.
Wow. Yeah, no, I had no problem finding it.
There you go. Well, then there you go. Never mind.
Of course, mine did have a very former shitty VHS little...
The lines, like you were watching Channel 99.
97. No, it was 99. You're right. It was 99.
Yeah.
Squiggle, 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 booey.
That's a Fully, man. Anyway, our first match is going to be an indicator of how this show's going to go. It is Mero with Sable Mero with Sable and Goldust with Luna versus the Headbangers. Mero addresses Luna about the incident with Sable
Still
last week.
sporting the Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn. Yep. Marilyn.
Yes.
Yep.
Riding this out.
Yep. Oh, maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. Mero says, hey, Luna, there's only room for one beautiful woman in this ring, so Sable, get the hell out of here. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, domestic abuse. Towards the end of the match, Sable ends up coming back out. Mero holds her back from Luna. One of the Headbangers is down in the middle of the ring, and they switch places, and they get a roll-up for the win. And it takes both Marilyn and Mero, 2 refs and 3 stooges to keep Luna and Sable apart from each other. And towards the end, Sable is finally fighting back against Mero, shoves him a couple times, and on the third one, shoves him right down to the mat.
Sounds like a movie I watched on Channel 99 once.
Probably. I mean, it's hard to piece together the storyline with all the squiggles, but, you manage sometimes. You do the best you can. Imagination has to play in. Michael Cole's backstage with Owen, talking about the 4-way tag, and they say that Shawn Michaels is out. And they're asking about who the next member is going to be to take his place. Doesn't know, doesn't care. Austin, stay out of my way. And cuts a quick promo on Triple H. Then we get...
I hate that it's going to be the end of face Owen. I think if they did it right, they could have really rode this out longer. He eventually is going to turn heel and join Nation. Yeah, it's...
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I guess it's a bit retrospective, right? If Shawn didn't get hurt, and I know we've talked about this before, but if Shawn didn't get hurt, he probably still would have dropped the title to Austin, and Shawn and Owen could have had a decent feud. Now, would they have booked Owen that way? Probably not. I think the writing was on the wall. I mean, he took the heat for being the only one left, right? So
I'm just saying, you hear the pop when he comes out in this pay-per-view, and I'm like, shit.
Big time. And that's in Texas.
Yeah.
Right? We get Sonny to the ring as a guest ring announcer for the light heavyweight title match. Of course, it's Pantera versus Taka Michinoku. Brian Christopher joins the commentary team. Taka retains. Brian Christopher says, I've had enough of Taka, and Lawler's trying to stop him, and they're kind of arguing, and Taka just hits them both with a splash to the floor. Hooray. Next, we get Kevin Kelly with Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack in the AOL room. Again, talking about DX needing to pick a replacement for Shawn Michaels. Next is the Isn't This Unfortunate match of this card, but not of the Wars by a fucking long shot. And you'll know what I'm talking about as we progress. It's the Quebecers versus the Godwins. It is a goddamn shame to have such good wrestlers in the ring and not giving one shit about the match itself.
Yeah. Crowd was dead silent, just waiting for the main event and everything else to happen. No one really cared.
Nope, I didn't either. Damn shame. Godwin's win. Next, you get the New Age Outlaws with Doc Hendricks asking who the replacement is. Don't you know? I thought you were going to tell us. We should have some say. We're getting disrespected. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Next, Jeff Jarrett with the NWA versus Bradshaw for the NWA North American title. The ref tosses Wyndham and the Express, but Cornette can stay because he has a manager's license. Like they call that out. And they're going back to they're going back to some NWA stuff there. Cornette gets distracted. He gets pulled in the ring, throws him into Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett ends up using the racket. Ref sees it. It's a DQ. Bradshaw slams Corny. He takes a bump. NWA eventually gains control, starts beating down Bradshaw, but LOD makes the save. Again, hooray.
Okay. I'm not going to... I'm going to spoil something here. Because if anybody who ever remembers watching WrestleMania 14, I'm not going to give away fucking spoilers here. It's not like this is all brand new to anybody. If you decide to watch it, you'd have watched it by now. It opens up with a tag team battle royal, and they come out, and it's the new and improved LOD with Sonny.
With Sonny. Yeah.
You know, in my mind, when that happens, and I've seen the pay-per-view more than I've watched the Raws and everything leading up to it, I was like, well, they must have been gone for at least a couple of months. What, did they just fucking go, new costume change this week, and we are a new LOD? They aren't even gone. They're still there. They're going to be on Raw tomorrow night. Are you shitting me? Like, it was, I don't know. The more that I think about it, I was like, why did anybody give a shit about the return? Everybody's like, oh, look at his LOD.
They're still over as fuck. I don't know what they were doing or what was going on at this point. Who the fuck knows?
Well, it's still better than the time they put Heidenreich in there when Hawk died.
Or fucking puke.
Draws.
Dude,
try to commit manslaughter on TV, pushing someone off a screen. MJF, he admits to doing it this past week on Dynamite.
But he was getting a blowjob, so fun. That's excusable. Cole's backstage.
So as long as you're getting blown while you murder someone, it's okay?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It was involuntary manslaughter at best, but...
Is the blowjob...
okay, let's just move on. Real quick. We're going into Katie Vick territory here. Cole's backstage with Triple H in China. Triple H says, my phones haven't stopped ringing. Everybody wants to be in DX. Nobody can match HBK. It's going to be 3-on-4. We don't want another partner. And Cole's like, well, they're going to appoint a partner if you don't pick one. He's like, shut up. That's basically the segment. Doc Hendricks is backstage with the Nation of Domination for their upcoming War of Attrition match. Yeah. There's a rift in the nation.
No, I was actually just thinking about Doc Hendricks. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to talk about Raw because of that. There's a rift in the nation, so let's speak to the leader of the nation. And Rock grabs the mic, Farouk grabs it back, and, kind of puts him in his place. And Rock, kind of steps back. And the whole time, while Farouk is cutting a promo, Rock is just flexing. He's raising the eyebrow. He's smiling. Yep. He's fucking hamming it up. It's great. It really is great. It's a throwaway segment.
Straight arrogance.
But, no, it's fucking fantastic. Because, we're not even into full.
No, you're right. It's a throwaway segment on a pay-per-view.
Sure.
And I hate those. Sometimes I go back and I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to watch, I don't know. It was like, I think it was something in 2008 recently. And there was 2 different times where people just came out and started cutting promos. I was like, I'm glad I never bought this pay-per-view. Jesus. I'm like, it's not a TV show, man.
Save it for Raw.
But this does kind of lead to stuff for, all the way into WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I keep waiting for it. It hasn't happened yet. I'm assuming it's soon. We got a lot let's not jump ahead. Anyway. That's all, folks. We get the Nation versus Shamrock, Ahmed Johnson, and Disciples of Apocalypse in the War of Attrition match. It turns into a brawl, or a war of attrition. Shamrock wins with the ankle lock on the Rock. Rock and Farouk face off. Rock shoves Farouk. Farouk ends up, instead of taking that out on Rock, he hits D'Lo. The Rock walks off. He comes back. Farouk tells them to fall in line and raise the fist. They all do, and that's that.
Fist me.
Daddy ass. Next, you get Cole backstage with Austin. Austin gets fed up, says, if you don't shut up, I'm going to start whooping your ass. There you go.
Every Austin promo for the next couple of years.
Yeah, right. Kane versus Vader's your next match. I feel so bad for Vader. Vader had that awful match with Shawn Michaels where Shawn basically literally curb stomped him and like wrung his head off. And Vader fought on. Kane wins and hits Vader with a wrench post-match, and they had to stretcher him out.
So, do you remember last week I brought up that Vader thing?
Just a big fat piece of shit.
Yeah. So, that happens at the following pay-per-view of WrestleMania, which would have been Over the Edge 98. They do all this build-up, Kane versus Vader, Kane versus Vader. And then at WrestleMania, well, Kane versus Undertaker. And then when it's over, Kane versus Vader. Just not understanding I guess Vader is
honestly,
biggest, toughest guy you could put him against for a couple of pay-per-views until you get to WrestleMania for the payoff.
I think it's just Vince laying into the attitude area where he's fading the older stars out. It's happening with LOD. It's happening with Vader. Oddly enough, the NWA thing's still going on, but
exactly. He could just segue into that.
Yeah, who the fuck knows, man?
Well, he's not going to.
Dude, I was going to say, yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Don't ask me to make sense of this chicken shit. I don't know. Fucking spaghetti wall pan. All right. Well, that leads us
at the main event.
Yes, we're at the main event. All right. So, Triple H, the Outlaws, and question mark. Now, at this point, not remembering what happened, I thought, you know what would be awesome?
Wait. This is faces come out first, right?
I thought the heels came out first.
No. You're right. I absolutely am wrong.
Yeah.
You're right. Hang on. But I do want to make mention of something. Here's how I know they were definitely in Houston, because Road Dogg comes out in a Tennessee Oilers.
Yeah, they didn't even change to the
jersey.
Titans yet. Yeah, weird.
Roy, and that's why he was talking shit about that. And it's funny because there's a different variation how he does a ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. He goes, badass Billy Gunn, the Road Dogg Jesse James. I'm like, it's funny, like he fine tunes it in a different way how he normally does,
Oh, he's still fine tuning it. Yeah, it's great though.
It's fun to watch along the way.
Yep.
Triple H comes out, of course, with China, and I need to take just this one right here. The worst. I hate to say it because he's a good wrestler. I've always liked him. But, I mean, shit, we even talked about him last year or 2 years ago with him and Austin with their feud. They had the strap match.
Yep.
Fucking Savio Vega.
Boo!
And when you want to... Dude, the crowd, you could hear them all instantly think out loud, I want my fucking money back. Are you shitting me?
Card subject to change.
You got a pay-per-view. It is always subject to change, but you couldn't get someone that was better leveled than... Well, okay, hang on. I'll give you this. At this exact moment, who are your heels? You can't have Kane go in there and lose, so who's left?
Honestly, what I thought was
Savio Vega.
What I thought was going to happen was that China would have taken his place.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't expose her to too much fighting with guys yet.
Yeah.
She hasn't taken
Yeah, I know. You got to wait. You got to wait a couple years on that.
Well, she has to take a bump soon, maybe. Yeah, so Savio Vega comes out. The crowd, literally, you could hear an immediate gasp.
Yeah. It also brings up an interesting point, because I didn't realize that Shawn didn't wrestle in this match. Does he wrestle any matches from the match he had against Taker where he got hurt until Mania? I didn't think so.
Not a one.
Yeah.
Just had to show up, pilled up, work it up, get out.
Yeah.
And so then out comes Owen immediate pop.
Oh, yeah.
At least that took the deflation that was in the room because of Savio Vega. They're like, fuck it, I guess we'll make it work with him. Owen comes out, and then Funk and Foley. And the match kind of just begins. Because, I think it was the smartest move. I thought about it. I'm like, you can get the main pop or whatever and chase everybody out of the ring. I thought it was smart how Foley and Funk go running in, and Owen's like, fuck it, I'm with them, let's go. And all the heels powder out of the ring real quick. And just as everyone is distracted enough about what's going on, that's when you hit the glass. And it was, they did very good timely glass breaks certain times. This was one of them.
Right.
Crowd pop could have been a touch better, I feel like, but I think they were all still like, Savio Vega, yay!
Awful. This was just a garbage match. Austin wins with a stunner.
Started hot.
Listen, there was, it had, some energy to it. The best part is that Austin wins, and at the end, the heels powder, and Chyna faces off with Austin, shoves him twice, and he's like, listen, I ain't gonna fucking deal with this, and he goes to leave, and she fucking flips him off. I was almost gonna try to get a picture of that and use that as the logo, but I don't know if that would have flown. So now she flips him off, walks away. Remember, we're in Texas, so Austin is like, oh, for real? Austin goes back into the ring. Chyna's back his turn, and he's just mocking her, like shaking his head, like yeah. She turns around, stuns her, gives her the bird.
First bump that she has taken, man, and it was awesome.
Yep, and then, dude, he even fucking got on the mic and got on the turnbuckle and just screamed, "Oh hell yeah!" The crowd was fucking hot as hell. I'm glad they sent him home happy because this pay-per-view sucked.
Yeah. Can't win them all, I guess.
Sometimes when you lose, you actually lose.
Oh, I love Rosie Perez. Okay, so now what we like to do normally is just go, okay, well, if it was the pay-per-view, let's lead right in with that show. Go ahead. Talk about Monday.
I assume that means you want me to go to Nitro because Raw was apparently on Saturday night, even though according to the cock it was on Monday.
Weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. So do you want to just go into Nitro, or do you want to go right into Raw since they had the pay-per-view?
No, we'll go in order. I like the order.
All right, so we'll go to Nitro then. We open up with In Memory of Louis Spicolli.
Because, I will say this. I texted you, I said, unopposed, Nitro brought it. A lot of good shit. And, okay, so
we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
But yes, it opened up with the Spicoli tribute. You were right.
I didn't realize he died. It was fucked up. They gave him a 1-bell salute, which I didn't understand. In memory of Louis Spicolli. Ding.
I didn't catch it.
I'm like, what the fuck?
I thought it was because of the version.
Unless it was a glitch, or I paused it and accidentally skipped forward. I don't know. It sounded like a 1-bell salute. But anyway. As usual, we get our recap of last week's main event. It's a go-home show for Super Brawl.
Ding.
What?
Just dinging.
Oh, I'll hear it. Yeah, ding. They just did random dings. They did it. They got to 10 by the end of the show. It was just random here and there. So they recap Thunder, Hogan, Macho face-off. Bischoff booked Macho and Hogan as tag partners for Nitro's main event, facing Luger and Sting. Macho says, yeah, I do apologize. Apologize I didn't do this sooner. He hits Hogan, he hits Bischoff, and he bounces.
I will have to throw this in there for the fact that we are not watching Thunder as well.
Thank God.
They do a really good job of giving us some video packages as to what happened. Well, this is what happened this past Thursday. I'm like, good, because I wasn't watching.
I think it's good enough. Enough. So Hogan, Bischoff, and the NWO go to the ring, and Hogan's talking about the A's and the B's, and now they're going to get to the C's and the D's. Hogan starts talking about corporate gaga. This made no fucking sense whatsoever. Macho and Liz are at the top of the ramp. Macho says, all right, I'll see you later. They're still not friends, blah, blah, blah.
He's been listening to a lot of Jackson 5. I like Little Michael.
Sophisticated. Like a young Michael Jackson. You just an uncouth...
1 star, half a star? I'm going to have to stab somebody, get my rep up.
How about a maniacal pillow fight?
You can hit him with that hammer. I don't want to kill him. The only time I like Bill Goldberg.
Exactly. Right. George Steinbrenner's at ringside. Awesome.
Oh, yep.
Probably with his third wife or something, because she was dressed just like Sonny was. I ain't mad. I'm just saying.
Happy birthday.
Oh, God. Can we please
Steinbrenner.
I just forgot about that. Why'd you have to bring it back up? Also, other forgettable things. The next match, Hugh Morris versus Goldberg. Guess who wins? Next, we get a video package on the Steiner brothers and Scott's recent attitude change. We get Hall and Nash coming out to commentary after that, saying, "Oh, we've been singled out by WCW. Hey, our names aren't on the list for those tag titles. It's a little kabuki-ish." And Scott Hall kind of looks at him like, "Oh, I kind of like that. That's a good call. That's a nice reference." I like when they do the inside baseball talk. And then with the oddest request ever, we have a title match at Super Bowl, but we want it tonight. Shivani's like, "But you have a title match on Sunday. Why do you want it now?" Nash tells Zbyszko, "Shut up or I'll unplug your dialysis
It's
machine,
wrestling."
little man." Yeah, because wrestling, especially WCW wrestling. We get another flashback to Thunder Hogan calling out Bret Hart. Next, Sick Boy beats Mark Starr using the pedigree. Thought that was interesting. Next, you get the Outsiders with Dusty versus Pubic Enemy. Oh, God, they're back. A little sidetrack here. You know what I can't wait for in the Wars? When the Acolytes face Pubic Enemy. You remember that shit show?
I think that was, sorry to step aside. That's on a Sunday Night Heat, though.
Yep.
It won't be on a Raw.
It is. I'm still going to watch it. Because I want to see Pubic Enemy get the shit kicked out of him.
Make sure we pencil that one in there for sure.
Right. Nash hits a power bomb. This was sketchy as fuck. You got, I think Rocco is on a table on the floor, and Nash picks up Grunge and power bombs him to the floor, and he almost didn't get him up. He almost fucking did another giant there, but they got it. And Nash does a fucking Hannibal Lecter impersonation, and he gets handcuffed again, and he's up to $200,000 in fines, and he says Attica again. So yeah, they're really bringing it this episode. Next,
when he said Thug Life.
Yeah, it would have been better if he did. Next, you get Mean Gene on the ramp with Nick Patrick. Patrick's been turned down again from working a match tonight. Says it's a conspiracy. I like to compare it to George Clinton's character defamation. It's a right-wing conspiracy. It's character assassination. He says, I heard Hogan offer to pay for my legal battle against WCW, and I accept that offer. Okay. Next, I see Mike Enos come out to the ring, and I say to myself, who's going to interrupt this match? What angle is this going to be used for? And you know what?
Do you think he gets called in just for those? They're like, hey, man, we got to run in.
He faces Barry Horowitz. And guess what happened? A wrestling match happened, and Mike Enos won.
They were really stretching on time this week, apparently. You even got Barry Horowitz. And no offense, I love Barry Horowitz.
Right.
But when you have a Barry Horowitz match
against
Mike Enos in the middle of Nitro, and no one's interrupting by at least the second minute, we're stretching for time.
We are stretching indeed. Next, hey, we got to go backstage. There's a little kerfuffle going on there. It's Bulldog in his finest early 90s tracksuit with a cup of coffee, getting ready to go back into the locker room. Mongo confronts him, knocks the coffee out of his hand, and it's a pull apart. Yep. You heard me.
I'm not understanding. It's like every time someone comes in, I feel like they have Mongo go against someone first.
Yeah.
Didn't Goldberg just have a feud with him too?
It was super short, dude. I think it was like 3 weeks at best. Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
Yeah, but still,
yeah. 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 You know, another thing that I saw a video on the other day, we're in February. So 7 months from now, he's already fired. Fire him. He's already fired. 7 months.
Bulldog?
7 months. No. Never mind. You said Mongo. It made me think about the whole Horseman reunion, Flair's promo on Bischoff.
Oh, that
7
is
months
fired.
Away.
Oh,
7
I'm like,
months.
which guy gets fired?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm sure
there,
Bulldog gets
kinda.
fired at some point. Don't worry, it's coming. So now we head into hour 2. Ugh. Opens up Laparca versus Yuji Nagata. Disco Cockknocker stuns Laparca while the refs distract, and Nagata locks in a figure 4 to win. Next, you get Kidman versus Ultimate Dragon. They mentioned Brett's just arrived to the arena. You get a suplex reversed into a Dragon Sleeper for the win. It was a nice spot. And for once, the flock doesn't flock. There you go. Gene's in the ring with Diamond Dallas Page. He's got a title match at Super Bowl versus Benoit. He says, I want Benoit at his best. He also wants to team up against Saturn and Raven with Benoit on Thunder. He says, hey, Raven, why don't we fucking just do this? Gene bounces, the bell rings, and Saturn runs in to kind of even the odds, I guess, for the flock. But then Benoit runs in, and there's no match. So they rang the bell for nothing. That one was really for Spicoli.
Yeah, you took me back. But when Benoit made his way out there, man, first, this is probably the longest I've ever seen his hair. It's funny, when he gets to WWE, his hair never really makes it past, like, short. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I forgot how long it is at this time, because he comes out wearing, like, a black shirt and just slides in the ring, but the crowd goes apeshit.
Oh, yeah, he's over as fuck.
Oh, God. I mixed feelings every time I watch anything of his. I'm just like, not like, oh, if I watch this, I'm going to hell. I'm there. But it's just more of like, when I watch it, I'm like, it just sucks knowing the inevitable. And I'm like, I just want one day, somehow, it just gets found out. Wait, it was murder.
Yeah, that's the case that they gave him.
It won't happen.
But he was dead, so it didn't matter.
Murder! Murder was the case that they gave me.
So another recap from Thunder.
I got my mama and my daddy and my homies in my corner.
You want to just break for a rap battle real quick, or should we get back to this?
All right, your turn.
Yeah, no.
Go.
I did not agree to that at all. Another recap from Thunder. Mang was facing Hugh Morris, locks in the tongue, and Death Grip won't let go. Hart's getting pissed off, calls out Barbarian, and then Mang locks in the tongue and grip on Barbarian.
So the end of Faces of Fear. Again, extremely glad you're showing me these things on Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Nitro, what happened on Thunder. Mm-hmm. Because, holy shit.
Yeah.
The match I didn't think I was going to be seeing anytime soon, if at all. I, to be honest with you, no bullshit. Just with how Nitro went out in life, Faces of Fear could have been together all the way to the very end for as much as I knew.
Yeah, 100%.
Not to be sarcastic.
100%.
And oh my God, we are getting a match on Nitro. And you know how you say, I'm gonna quote you, the match that you just sit back and watch. Holy shit, that's what it was. They got about a good 8 minutes of two hosses just beating the shit out of each other.
It was a hoss fight. Jimmy Hart came out with the Barbarian, making his side very well known. Jimmy Hart hits Mang with the wooden chair in the head twice, obviously a big mistake, and it takes Barbarian to kick Mang 4 times in the face to get him down. So, I mean, at least they kept that fucking, story that Mang is not somebody you can just bring down. Fucking had to
make him look strong.
Yep, 100%. So,
okay, the chair didn't break on the first
I know
one.
it
kind of like dent broke.
It was a Hogan shot.
The second one.
It was a Hogan shot.
The second one, when it went through, it was jagged wood up in different angles. And I was like, oh my God, dude, that could have very easily went so south, like real quick. And Ming just shakes it while it's on his head, like a fucking rabid dog.
Yeah, he's a badass.
You know what I mean? Like, has a toy.
He's a badass.
And you were mentioning the 4 kicks. One of them, I think, was to the chest more than the head.
Yeah.
The final one was extremely
Square.
hard into the temple.
Oh, yeah.
The what I loved is in the opening, the punches on Ming's head, as well as the punches that he was giving to Barbarian, no one throws today.
Oh, no.
No one connects
Everybody's
like
pussies.
that. And oh my God, dude,
Yeah.
it was when I watched it, I swear to God, I was like, oh, this is why we're watching the Wars. I didn't know this existed. This is the best thing ever. I'm like, I'm going to watch this again at some point.
You know,
it was so awesome to see.
Yeah, you know damn well before the match, they're like, all right, we're just going to pretend we were at the bar and we just had like a case of beer between the two of us and we just started fucking around with each other. It's probably what it was.
It's like the APA. It's the US APA. Not US, Jesus Christ. The WWE APA.
Right.
Jesus Christ, I don't know why. Well,
Close enough.
Let's move on, please, before I say something really bad.
Moving on. Next, we get Saturn versus Disco Dingus. Disco was attacked by La Parka on the ramp during the entrance. You know, I never thought about it until just now. It's hilarious that Sean Spears stole the chairman gimmick from fucking La Parka.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
Well, but he does it a little bit different. Well, yeah,
Oh, well, I'm not saying he stole it, but I mean, it's pretty much the same fucking thing.
My favorite thing about La Parka, I'll always remember, is he hasn't really began doing it yet, but putting the chair right to his side and how he dances, walking with the chair.
He did it. He did it on Nitro.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Maybe
because he was mocking Disco.
Okay, well,
Yep.
he always dances like that pretty much from here on out with
That's
it. That's
hilarious.
It's
gotta love
but
La Parka.
Anytime, dude, I love La Parka, but he was actually, it's him, Mysterio, and Ultimo Dragon. Those are the three that I liked and followed in WCW.
Yeah, Dragon's the fucking man. So Disco can't compete. So who's the best one to take his place? Rick Martel, even though he has a TV title match later in the night. Flock interferes, rings a Saturn for the win.
We are stretching for time.
100%.
I almost now wonder, and I'm not being sarcastic, do you think some people called in and been like, I'm not working tonight because of Louis? It was before then.
Yeah,
you said he died in 6 days? I don't know, man. I'm just wondering because
I don't know, man, because
Disco's worked twice. A lot of people are working twice on this show.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think. I mean, Spicola.
That's also 3 hours. What am I talking about?
I don't know who he was close with. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much that would have affected things.
Big stretch. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but it's just
whatever.
because you're right. Because when you said Rick Martel, I was like, he did do this as well. Sorry.
Yeah, but Martel's one of those dudes that you know damn well can do it. You know, because he's a fucking pro. So next, I got really excited, and then it was all ripped away from me. I see Kurt Hennig and Bob Roode, no, Rick Rude, come down, and he's going to be facing Bobby Eaton. And I said, holy shit, this has the potential to be a great fucking match. No, it was a squash. Hennig won in like 3 minutes.
You know what I said? Holy shit. Where the fuck is Rick's mustache?
He hasn't had it for the last couple of weeks. He hasn't had it, but it was very prominent this time.
Extremely prominent, like they baby oiled his face extra. I couldn't deal with it, and I go, who does he remind me of? And I figured it out, man. Family Guy, the movie. Tom Tucker, when he loses his job and Peter gets the, you know what really grinds my gears segment. Tom Tucker, when he leaves, they go, don't forget it. And he has to give over his mustache before he leaves.
When he comes back, they throw it up in the air and it lands perfectly on his face. Yeah, I like how
he goes, "Oh, Daddy missed you." Oh, you're so
I love. Where in the Bible that says I can't fire off a couple knuckle children in my neighbor's living room when he's not at home?
That's what grinds my gears.
Knuckle children, I love it. It's one of the best euphemisms out there.
Lindsay Lohan, you're acting like you want me, but you don't. What do you want? What do you want?
What are we doing?
You want nothing.
All right.
But when Tom Tucker loses his mustache, that's what it reminded me of when I looked at Rick Rude, and I was like, at least I got rid of mine.
Thank God for some little miracles, right? After this match, we see...
I mean, hey, you know...
Yeah.
Shit, if you're not going to say it, I will. Oh, what a difference a shave can make.
There you go. That'll have to be the episode name.
There you go.
Yeah, it is the fucking promo right there. It's the same promo, just change the word because fucking oh, what a difference a shave makes, indeed. Yeah, it was.
I do have to say this though.
What's that?
It's sad when I see this duo together.
Yeah,
because I always think about the fucktard that was like, yeah, I'm gonna ask Kurt Hennig about a match he's coming up to tonight in Thunder, and then I'm gonna follow up with, hey, let's talk about your buddy's death.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Like, are you shitting me? And you've watched that.
Yeah, 100%. Kurt could have been a lot cruder, but he kept it together, man. He was a pro about it.
And he gets upset, and he's like, he goes, it burns my ass. I think that's how he said it. He goes, it really burns my ass as to the people who act like they care in this business and they don't. You know, probably saying, like, who showed up, who didn't, things like that. But that was one of his very best friends. He was in the Heenan family. They were together on the road for a long time together. So when I see him together in WCW, I'm just like, man, I can't remember the year, honestly, that Rude dies. I want to say 99.
Yeah, I think it's 99.
So it's like just sad to see this right here because I'm like, oh man, like,
well,
they're probably enjoying their time together right now because they're back together on the road, right? But it's just sad to see in the long run.
It's even sadder because when you see those NWO segments, they're cronying up next to each other. They're just shooting the shit with each other. Yep. They're like, can you believe we're getting a paycheck for this? So
to me, every time, and this is a side, whatever personal thing, when I do a 2K game and you make your stables, you got the Heenan family, I always put those together, right? Those guys, I always make them a tag team together.
Nice.
Because if Rude didn't get hurt, man, could you imagine him and Hennig together? I still did it. Hennig together in the NWO. Right now, I'm like, that would have been a badass fucking tag team. They still could have been at any point. It sucks that Rude got hurt.
Yeah, especially, doing what he loved doing, man. It's funny because those two guys both had Lloyd's of London's insurance policies on their bodies, which I think is one of the reasons they didn't let him wrestle in WWE after his injury, which is hilarious because he just went on to fucking keep wrestling for a while. So, yeah, a lot of weird shit there with an unfortunate ending, to say the least.
Yeah, and also, obviously, a real big rest in peace to Rick Rude's mustache. Obviously, we miss you, man. Hope you get well soon.
Maybe they needed to dress Spicoli up for his wake.
Jesus.
Okay.
Ding! Anyway. That's 3.
We're going into hour 3. Speaking of that, we get Buff and Stuff versus the Steiners. Rick starts the match this time, and they tag as normal, working together. But the NWO interferes, and it's a DQ anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Next, you get Rick Martel versus Booker T for the TV title. Ref takes the worst ref bump ever. Basically, he gets kicked in the knee, and he's holding his head.
My neck, my back, my neck, and my back.
Pretty
I'm
much.
Suing.
I want 150. All right, anyway. Saturn hits Martel. Booker hits Saturn. Hurts his leg in the process. Martel locks in the Quebec Crab. And fucking Booker taps. Rick Martel wins the TV title.
Woo! Dude,
amazing.
I was so excited when I was watching this.
Yeah, fucking amazing.
In the same night, you're going to give me Ming and Barbarian, and you gave me Rick Martel winning your TV championship? Hell yeah. One of the best Nitros I've watched in a while.
Yeah, well, at least for those two things.
And you're giving me random Spicoli dings? Fucking awesome, man. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. Ding!
So it was supposed to be Booker T versus Saturn at Super Brawl for the TV title, but now it will be Rick Martel versus Saturn. Maybe. Next, we get Gene in a ring with Bret Hart. Cuts a promo on Hogan. It says, hey, Hogan's been making excuses. He's scared of me. He's been running and hiding from me for years, which is fucking hilarious because all you got to think about is Yokozuna. That's all you got to think about right there. Fucking Flair put him over. Piper put him over.
I still don't understand how Hogan never thought, I could put Bret over. I mean, like, how did you not, in all the years in the succession of him being in that company with you, how did you not see him? I mean, he was legit the same size, if not a little bit bigger, than Randy Savage. And you feuded with him, no problem, as your tag team partner and foe. I never understood why he didn't like Brett. Oh, my God. So, wait, Hogan not only didn't like black people, he also didn't like Canadians?
Wow, he really is a xenophobe, huh? Damn.
Brother.
Yeah, so anyway, at this point, it's when somebody enters the ring. And I think you already mentioned it, so we'll just get to it. It's fucking Crush. No, it's not Crush. It's Brian Adams.
Yeah, well, they took a little bit of time to even call it out. The announcers,
they
easily
did
25 seconds.
Well,
which I'm okay with. I like that.
I think it's
like
because they were talking, so they waited until they could kind of interject. So, but yeah,
I gotta say, for everything that you did all night, giving us 2 Rick Martel matches, Horowitz versus whoever,
Mikey
you know
knows.
what I mean? Like, you really stretch it. Mikey knows, right? You stretch some shit out. Ding. You very easily could have stretched this promo out to make it a touch better and more dramatic. I don't know if Hennig jumped the gun, but so as you're hearing in the segment that I put on the sound clip there, is that Crush, now Brian Adams, he goes, shake my hand and I'll tell you, brother, I'm going to be here. I got your back, yada, yada, yada. And Mean Gene is like, now I want to bring to your attention, everybody, that you can't be, we know who he is.
Yeah, he does say that. We know this guy. It was weird,
but what happened is it was supposed to be where he grabs his hand, right, at least, and then pulls him in, and then you get the jump. Hennig was already like 3/4 in the ring before Crush just grabbed his hand and pulled him in real quick. I'm like, it could have been done so much better, and they rushed the segment. And I'm like, but you put in so much stupid filler. Why did you mess this one up? I felt like it was just a little
miscue. Who knows?
Thank you. It was rushed. I didn't care for it. But again, if you got anybody who has ever been a heel in the WWE and they are now coming over to WCW, do not waste your time. Just put the goddamn NWO shirt on them and let's just get to the chase.
Pretty much. The cool thing about this is you got some bumps between Brett and Hennig, which was cool because of the history. And man, Hennig took those bumps. But Flair runs in to assist. They shake hands afterwards, and there you go. The crowd did pop for it, so you got to give them that anyway. Next, in the WTF moment of the night, Mean Gene's on the ramp with J.J. Dillon. Dillon says, I want Saturn, Booker T, and Rick Martel out here right now. So it's supposed to be Booker T versus Saturn for the TV title at Super Brawl. It's now going to be Booker T versus Rick Martel. Saturn is like, well, what the fuck? I had a championship match. He goes, well, hold on. He goes, after that match, whoever wins the title is going to have to defend that title against you, Saturn. And even Gene's like, what the fuck are you on about? And J.J. Dillon says, it's not about what's fair, it's about what's right. That makes no fucking sense.
It does.
Could have just been a triple
and
threat.
It doesn't because, okay, I mean, wrestling.
Indeed.
That's the best I can give you.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, in another, fortunate match that I'd be happy to watch and was happy to watch, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. Eddie gets thrown into Jericho, knocking him off the apron, and Malenko wins with a cloverleaf. There's really not much else to say other than that. Some matches you just watch.
Yeah. Ding.
I hope you're keeping track because we're almost done. Bischoff's on the mic in ring. He says Nash was fined $50,000. It's a right-wing conspiracy. That's the second time they've thrown that out there tonight. Hogan's late. He has to write the check on the dashboard, and then his brother has to sign it. And at this point, we are heading into our main event of the evening with 8 minutes left.
Ding!
Our main event being Sting and Luger versus Hogan and Macho. They jump, heels jump the faces during the entrance, which has happened several times tonight. At this point, there's 5 minutes left. Michael Buffer's still in the ring. He says, "Let the match begin." They're just fighting on the floor.
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, pretty much. Hogan denies a tag at one point. Macho just slaps him on the back to tag him in. Scorpion Deathlock. NWO runs in. It's a DQ. Hogan and Macho start fighting. Flair and Brett are out. They clear the ring. We'll see you on Thursday and then on Sunday on Super Brawl.
Ding!
And with that final...
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we got more to go. Normally, we're used to ending with
Oh,
Nitro.
yeah.
I was like, hey, man, let's get ready. No, we got Raw. I forgot. It was on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Again,
I was so
Raw.
excited about the final ding, dude. Come on. Boom.
Boom. All right. So we open up with LOD versus the Quebecers. Outlaws are out there with the dumpster again, and they trap Hawk inside the dumpster.
They brought Sonny to the ringside?
Yeah. Not that type of dumpster. Animal chases him off with a chair, and LOD gets counted out. Again, they're getting the fucking treatment, that's for sure. We get a hype packet.
Dumpster side up. Dumpster side up. That's the new one.
That's that's not the worst thing, you know.
I've looked up worse on Banger Bros.
I'm sure you have. We get a China hype package, and we are informed by commentary that she's going to be suing Austin for emotional distress. There you go. Shamrock.
After they just show you a straight up video package for 2 straight minutes of her fucking up other guys on the entire roster, they're like, China feels a little emotionally hurt as a woman and would like to sue you because of the stunner that you did at the pay-per-view. I hated it. I hated the suing thing. It was just stupid.
They thought it was a rib, but it really was just unnecessary. So, yeah.
One rib.
One. Just pour some pop in my mouth. Yeah. All right. Anyway, next we get Shamrock versus Sniper. Shamrock wins. And then the Jackal runs down Sniper. Then we get recon backstage about a rift in the Truth Commission, and Sniper chimes in, and there's apparently a rift in the Truth Commission. So oddities in a month or two.
Yeah, and I was staring at recon. It's funny, their names are just as close as Retribution.
Yeah,
but
I know, right?
I was like, I know this guy. I know it, and I think it's who he is. And I look it up, and I was right, man. It's Bull Buchanan, who we're going to see in like the earlier 2000s anyway, late 99, 2000. It was just, I was like, oh, shit, he's way more jacked up when he becomes back as Bull Buchanan.
Right.
I knew I looked him up, and so I looked up every other person, and besides Don Callis and Bull... Well, in Kurgan, we obviously know. But other than that, everybody else is pretty much a nobody in wrestling.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Sniper, hit the bricks.
Yeah, get out of here. Next, we get Mero with Sable in the ring with Lawler. Lawler with the fucking worst line of the night. Hey, split happens. You guys going to split up? Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Well, he would know. I mean, he's... divorced from like 14 different 16-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, we left it
it's
out
okay.
of the news.
Jerry Lee Lewis did it too. It was all right. He did it. Never mind.
It's funny. We left it out of the news, but Lawler almost died. He's apparently okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did. He had a stroke, but he's smiling again, so that's why I was like, whatever.
He's good. Jimmy Hart's hanging out with him, so he's in good spirits. Basically it's all about Sable trying to steal Mero's spotlight, and Mero tells Lawler...
Hey, at least it's better than... Oh, yeah, Barry Windham almost died as our leaving of a show. At least this time we remembered it. Oh, yeah, Jerry Lawler almost died, but good call. Nice and early this time.
Mero says Sable knows her place and does exactly what I say. Somebody delivers flowers to the ring for Sable and she basically says, well, it's nice to know someone's thinking about me. She leaves with the flowers. Mero chases her down to the back. There you go. So, we get a promo from Jim Cornette. Says, hey, you fans really fucking grind my gears. You guys wanted real wrestling. You applaud. Now that I've done it, you're booing us. I'm ashamed, I'm disgusted, and I'm appalled. And you know what? The Rock and Roll Express have a title match tonight, and the NWA has assigned Ref Tommy Young to the match. This was... Go ahead.
I'm laughing at all of it. Just go.
Okay. So we do get the Rock and Roll versus Headbangers for the NWA tag titles. Thrasher's about to get a 3 count, and Mosh throws Gibson over the top rope. Ref sees it, calls a DQ. I fucking love it. I hate the rule, but they fucking alluded to it. It's an NWA ref. You done fucked up, Mosh. That's illegal. It's a DQ. Fucking great. It probably didn't translate well to the audience at the time, but me looking back at it...
didn't at all. If you watch them, they're all like...
Yeah. Speaking of... Yeah, so again, it did not translate at all, but I loved it. I thought it was clever. So...
It was just... That and, you know what really grinds my gears? Motherfucker!
We are getting a lot of Cornette lately. I kind of like it, so... it's not his best stuff, but still, at least we're seeing him. I have to bring this up right before the War Zone. They bring up their WrestleMania Millennium moment. One of my favorites, Andre the Giant choking Bob Uecker. Gotta fucking love it.
Yep.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Nobody's listening.
All right.
Take over, Monty. I'm in the bag.
Heading into the War Zone, we get Austin in the ring with JR. Austin sporting his most fetching fanny pack.
Yo, it was either the biggest fanny pack in the world or he had that stuffed with something because that thing was big. I was like, come on, don't you feel a touch weird? What's in there? Your other set of hoop earrings?
Beers?
Then pull one out at least and drink it in front of everybody. Make it at least... It was weird.
It was rather weird. Maybe he was late to the arena. You didn't have time to take it off.
I didn't bring my bag, goddammit. This is all I wore.
Yeah, basically it's why'd you stun China? Because you don't mess with Stone Cold. Mania 14, Austin, Michaels, Tyson, the shit's on. That's it.
Promo over.
Sell tickets. Next. Remember how I said Bobby Eaton versus Kurt Hennig? I was excited for it, and I hoped it would be a good match because it had potential with two great wrestlers, and that didn't happen. All right, well, next we got Jeff Jarrett versus Owen for the European title. I mean, fuck, right? NWA's ordered to the back like they were at the pay-per-view. Owen hits a sharpshooter. Cornette goes for a swing with the racket. Owen ducks. It's a DQ. Owen locks in the sharpshooter on Cornette. Again, I mean, they got more wrestling in than Hennig and Eaton did.
The other one, yeah.
But it still was kind of, fell flat. Can I just say something? I know we've said this before, and I just need to say it again. Man, Jeff Jarrett never really found his fucking place. He was always a really good wrestler.
He looks like an out-of-place Power Ranger with what he's wearing in the ring.
Yeah, well, that aside, I mean, he was always a good worker. I mean, he could cut a halfway decent promo. But, he never really got to be a, headliner until he got to TNA. And
he fucking owned the place.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a damn shame, man. I had to bring that up. Next. WWE.
I'm gonna own a wrestling company. I'm gonna make myself the world champion.
Right. Slap nuts. Yeah, we get a video package calling out the fact that Doc Hendricks is actually Michael P.S. Hayes of the Freebirds, because nobody fucking knew that already.
Add to your more recent Attitude Era fans, they didn't.
Now, I was excited about this because I was a fan of the Freebirds. I'm a fan of Michael P.S. Hayes. Who isn't?
It's weirder that they said, ladies and gentlemen, here's the former Michael P.S. Hayes. Here's Doc Hendricks. What the fuck?
That is the
and then he comes out dancing.
And he's doing
like
the fucking
drunk
P.S.
uncle
Hayes.
at a fucking wedding.
He's doing the P.S. Hayes gimmick. It's great. Everybody loves it. The Freebirds were big in Dallas, so it makes sense. You're in Dallas tonight.
Okay. Maybe, but you also are in front of a bunch of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds who have never fucking seen this guy, and they're like, why is the announcer out here shaking his ass in front of everybody? I don't get it. It was just funny as hell to watch. I loved it. As soon as I texted you, I was like, dude, this is why we get giddy in the second half of the Wars. I go, it's the shit they produce. I'm watching Michael P.S. Hayes now is Doc Hendricks, who used to be Michael P.S. Hayes, but we all know is only Doc Hendricks, shaking his ass.
Behaving like Michael P.S. Hayes.
Freebird, the Freebird music, but no one knows what any of this is.
Exactly. Well, the 15-year-old's got at least something out of it because it was all for, he was supposed to be the guest announcer, but it's just for Chain to come out, chokeslam him, tombstone, next segment.
Kane.
That's what I said.
I thought you said Chain.
Kang.
Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan. Well, the best thing to do when your first guest ring announcer spot doesn't work out so well, you get another one.
Go for number 2.
So they bring out Sonny, yeah. Real quick question, Sonny or Sable? I mean, it's an easy answer to me, but forget about past.
Yeah,
okay, there you go. Yes.
Oh, is it a real either or? And it's 100%? Wait, are they both freshly unsqueezed?
Yes. Clean. No Tyson, no Lesnar.
No Dolph, no Shawn, no Brett, no Davey. Sonny.
Okay, yeah, agreed.
But honestly, though, gun to my head, Luna.
Yikes. So,
imagine what she would sound like.
Oh,
never mind.
They make the fleshlights with the vampire teeth on it. That's what I always assumed it'd be like. Next we get Brian Christopher and Parata.
Veiny fucker, like the side of her head.
Oh God.
I'm out for the next 5 seconds. Go.
Yeah. Brian Christopher says, "I got me a Mexican now, baby."
Jesus Christ. I was hoping that was maybe going to be cut from Peacocks. I wanted to bring it up, but nope, they didn't cut it. I saw that, and he goes, oh my God, it just sounded like every Texan. Got me a Mexican. Just walked into the ring. I go, oh my God, holy shit.
Apparently he just came back from Home Depot. Taco wins. Yeah.
All right.
Farouk with the Nation versus Steve Blackman. Rock has a gift. Gets on the mic. He says, "Hey, we got to clear up a few things. There's no dissension in the Nation. No hard feelings." He gives Kama, D'Lo, and Mark Henry a $15,000 Rolex each. He tells Mark Henry,
"Feel the weight on those babies."
He goes, Mark, I know you got big hands there, buddy. The Rock will pay for the extra gold." it was pretty nice.
But what did Farouk get?
Well, Farouk opens it up, and it's a fucking, and Farouk shakes his hand. It's a framed photo of The Rock. He throws it to the ground. The whole match, Rock's just looking at the crowd, admiring the picture, holding it up. Farouk grabs it. He goes to use it on Blackman, but Rock says, "Fuck that," grabs it out of his hand. Blackman rolls up Farouk for the win. Farouk destroys the picture and leaves.
Was there supposed to be glass on this? Because the straight-up cardboard was not breaking the way they thought it was going to.
No.
Farouk gave it its best punch in the face, and all it did was just kind of dent it. Like
it took 3 punches, I think, for it to break finally.
Yeah.
No, it definitely was a plastic fronted frame. I know exactly what kind. I think I have a couple of those frames laying around here somewhere.
The Rock? That's weird.
No, not The Rock, no. It just has the picture that came in it with it right now, but that's fine. Anyway, Michael Cole goes backstage. He's at the Nation's locker room. You hear a lot of commotion. D'Lo comes out. He says, "Hey, it's nothing but love back there." And then he goes back in. There you go. And then your main event. Mm-hmm. Apparently, no more Marilyn. Goldust is back to being just Goldust. With Luna. Tagging with Mero versus Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Sable shows up about halfway through the match with flowers. Luna destroys them. And Cactus uses a chair on Goldust for the win. And it's another pull apart between Sable and Luna. Yeesh.
And we're on to WrestleMania.
Hopefully.
And that's the end of Raw, isn't it?
That's the end of Raw. Yeah.
That was a shitty ending.
Yeah, at least we got some bright spots on
That's
Nitro.
what you get for Saturday night.
Yeah. SATURDAY. Oh, sorry.
If you want my body and you think... All right, man. Hey, let's talk about a top topic.
Ladies
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for...
Best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Hold 2, arm bar.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hold 3, the moss-covered, 3-handle family granunzel.
It's me, Austin.
Just when they think they got the answers, I change the questions.
I did it for The Rock.
This week's top topic.
You know something, Mean Gene? John Cena.
Wrestling's not fake.
The Rolex wearing one. Diamond ring wearing one. Get stealing. Woo. Wheeling dealing. One. Limousine riding. One. Jet flying. One. Son of a gun. Woo.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
If you smell.
The following ranking order and final decisions are a completely bias-based order, based off The Professor and ODM Made It. And as always, they like to let you know they have not worked in the business, but have been lifelong invested fans much like you, our listeners. With not only their opinions involved, but with countless amount of hours of research done each week, they make sure to provide proper facts and history to back it up. However, they do know that your opinion may vary from theirs. If there is anything you want to chat about, bring to their attention. If there is something they missed or forgot, or you just want to let them know they are out of their freaking minds, feel free to shoot them a message on Facebook or Twitter, or email them at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com. As always, they do appreciate all feedback and continued support. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that you do see the best of the best before you die. And now, this week's top topic.
Over the last 30 years, there have been some fun feuds. Ones that are about big meaning, some that are mainly for a championship. Sometimes you have it for, well, you have a wrestler versus his own boss, right? With Austin McMahon. We got a lot of feuds that are the reason that you tuned in or you bought a pay-per-view. And today, just going to dabble through some of the top feuds over the last 30 years, recognizing out of multiple companies. One that always will stand out to me, and I'm sure for many people, is the one that not only carried over from Ring of Honor, but also into NXT and into WWE, and is kind of currently a part of the Bloodline storyline. But we're talking about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, or Kevin Steen and El Generico. Best friends turn to enemies. And, every time they get on the page, maybe for a second, they're right back to being enemies again. But some of the matches they've had, they had a huge trilogy in Ring of Honor that ended in Ladder Wars. They had one was a street fight, and the other one was a fight without honor, and then a Ladder Wars. Great feud, always one of my favorites, again, because it comes from that place of we are friends, we are brothers. But another one that's kind of the same that I didn't see coming, to be honest with you, was when Shawn Michaels made his return in 2002. After being out multiple years.
That was huge.
With the broken back. Comes back and Triple H turns on him. Puts him through a car window. And they end up having their first match at SummerSlam 2002. And that goes for the next couple of years, even involving, Chris Benoit, WrestleMania one of the years as well. But they had Hell in a Cell matches, Last Man Standing matches. Actually, their Last Man Standing match at Royal Rumble 2004, one of my favorites. Ends in a draw, but Triple H obviously retains. But both of them an absolute just bloody mess. This was before, they got rid of the blood. Not every one of these feuds are going to be, as bloody or as, hard fought, but some of them have some big meaning to them. One that took place in 2002 and then got reignited in 2014 is The Undertaker with Brock Lesnar. Him and Brock had a badass no DQ match, or it was just a regular match that turned into, I would assume, a no contest. And then their second match at Hell in a Cell in 2002 or 2003, one or the other, when Lesnar was first coming up as a major heel, took on biker Undertaker, and they had some, again, bloody matches. And then after Brock Lesnar loses a UFC fight, Taker sitting by ringside, hey, you want to do it? couple years later, yada yada, WrestleMania 30, streak is broken by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, yada yada, the streak is over?
And they carried the feud a little bit longer. They had another Hell in a Cell match, as well as I think one more other
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, yep. The feud is almost making the next, and I hate to use the Heyman term from it, but the next big thing, the next big guy. You know, after Taker, who was left that was your real big guy? Sucks that Lesnar took off 2 years after his debut, but hey, went off, did other things, came back. So it's, you know, he's still there doing his thing now. Shit, I'm cheering for him all of a sudden, which is really weird. But I think Taker made Lesnar.
Couple times.
Their feud.
Yeah. More than once.
The feud that we're watching right now, I'm going to put two feuds together. It's WCW and NWO, but really, I think if you want to look at your biggest feud with WCW and NWO, it was Hollywood Hogan and Sting. That was your biggest money maker. That was the biggest storyline. Most of the WCW versus NWO, I mean, now it's going to turn into Wolfpack soon through our wars.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But when you're looking at it, it all came down to Hogan and Sting. Starrcade match, was it what everybody wanted it to be? Apparently not, but at the same point, it's what you were leading to. And I think feud, storyline-wise, it was awesome. You had Sting coming out as the Crow, not saying a word, just dropping everybody and taking off.
Yeah.
I thought it was great television.
It was. It was easy. I feel like as much as the NWO was over, and so were the Outsiders, people were still quite happy to boo Hogan.
Easily.
And Sting was still one of your biggest baby faces, if not the biggest. So it was perfect.
Fans are like, we were already booing you either way, so go fuck yourself.
Right.
In the recent years, I'm going to fast forward to the 2019-2020 era. And that is what everybody thought was a pretty decent come-around story between Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. I will say it was pretty well done because of the whole, are you in the elite? Are you a part of this group? And they end up the unlikely duo of being tag team champions, still can't trust each other. And it leads all the way to Adam Page dethroning Kenny Omega for the world championship.
Yep.
And even more, Kenny won the Eliminator tournament over Page to get to Jon Moxley. The feud, they've had a lot of high-stakes matches. Are we fans of both men and how AEW does things? Well, maybe not all the time, but at the same point, they did make this one come around pretty well. It's one of the few storylines that Tony Khan has produced. And the only other real feud that I'll give you that they've done very well in is CM Punk and MJF. It was the obvious one.
Yeah.
And thank God that they did it, because if Punk is done, that was what we were all wanting. We wanted a Punk MJF feud. They only had 2 matches, but the war of words, the feud, the hard jabs, it's what, again, made you want to watch. But one of my favorite CM Punk feuds was with Jeff Hardy in the summer of 2009. I've touched base on this one before, but the Money in the Bank cash-in after Hardy finally wins against Edge in a ladder match at Extreme Rules. Finally gets his world championship win, his second world title, if you will. Punk comes right in. Who was it face earlier in the night, beating Umaga, and then comes out and dethrones Jeff Hardy. So it's, but why would you boo me? I mean, I did this last year. Everybody was cool with me. Why is everybody hating on me now? But why do you want to be behind him anyway? I mean, he's a pill popper. I'm drug free. And boom.
Yep.
The Savior was born. And this became one of Punk's biggest feuds. And I loved this whole setup because they played mind games with each other, and it was all really against everything that Jeff was doing wrong. What's really crazy is that like 2-3 weeks after he did leave WWE, after the loser leaves WWE match, he actually got arrested again for like a DUI. And I was like, I tuned in just to see if Punk was going to be like, so Who thought I was wrong?
Right. Told you guys. Didn't want to listen.
But some of the feuds, but some of those feuds are the ones that, when you make them real and you got the right person in the right spot, Piper was the right person to get in someone's face and talk shit and get them upset. Punk had that same kind of thing, and that's what he was doing with Hardy throughout the whole feud, and I loved it. But then they brought his feud right to an end, and or his title reign, and Taker dethroned him, and that was pretty much the end of Punk for several years. One of my favorite feuds that we saw in WCW a little bit already, when it was Mask versus Cruiserweight Championship, you got Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. And then that carried over to I'm Your Papi. That's right.
Still relevant today.
Also, also even brings us to the time that, where the fuck is Vicky? Where the fuck was Vicky on that one? When he was on the ladder and she was supposed to come out and took way too long. He was pissed. But the feud, multiple months on SmackDown, in the promos Eddie was cutting, they were just fantastic. They were turning off all the lights except for one spotlight on him. And Ray was real over still as a face at this time. Kids loved him, still do. And you had little Dom in there, man. Who would have thought that Dominic would be on our wrestling TV today?
Yeah, I know, right?
With those blonde tips that he had going back then. Two great feuds that I absolutely loved within the last 25 years were The Rock and Mankind, as well as Mankind and Taker. I love that if you really look at it, Mankind lost pretty much most of those matches between both feuds.
Most? Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah, Mankind, they definitely...
he lost. He won the championship versus Rock. He won the Boiler Room Brawl against Taker. I get that. But I'm saying that when you look at it, when everybody walks on, they went on to a championship reign. Or they went, something big.
Right.
Foley didn't need to be your championship guy, but he put you in the right place and made you look good. The Rock and Mankind feud, like 6-7 matches altogether, I think, within the 98-99 time, right? And a couple of them are on pay-per-view for sure. Taker and Mankind, we've only seen a couple of them so far. We're about to see later this year the Hell in a Cell. That's to me, everybody goes on and just has a better career, I feel like, after working with Foley, and I think that's why feuds with him, name a feud that he's been in that you're like,
right. Even if you come out at the bottom of a feud, the idea is that it progresses you to your next step.
Exactly my point. And he's not on our list anymore, Mankind, but for those two, again, everyone progressed all at once. I mentioned it earlier, Austin and McMahon, one of the best feuds of all time. And one wasn't even really a wrestler.
Yeah.
Did they have a couple of matches, a couple of times that they tussled and whatnot? Absolutely. A year from now, we're going to be talking about their cage match at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Almost just about a year from now. Hey, and Big Show will be there. Oh, shit. Wow, things are going to get changing. Mm-hmm. All right. But it was the ultimate who doesn't want to tell your boss to go fuck himself feud, and everybody loved it. You lived vicariously through Austin. I thought it was really just, the whole thing was well done, and especially for the Attitude Era. I'm excited to rewatch all that coming up, so I'm not going to dive too much into that right now because we're going to be talking about it weekly very soon. Love it or hate it, I actually am a fan of the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns feud. It's gone all the way back from WrestleMania 31 on to today, and it's flopped where you have one as a face, one as a heel, and when it comes together, the matches are not necessarily that bad. I don't think that they're bad at all, and I think the feud of, if you really look at it, Roman has Brock's number more than anybody in WWE history.
But still not a lot, so it keeps the mystique of Lesnar alive and makes Roman look like a world beater, so yeah. I'll give it to you.
Which is why I think the feud is better than most give it credit. Personally.
Yeah.
They all can't be bangers. They all can't be as good as, let's say, Austin and Rock.
Right.
You know.
Nice segue.
That one, thank you. That one really sold itself. Anytime you just had Austin and The Rock against each other. And it's funny because they only did it so often. You may get a couple on Raw here and there that we may come to see coming up. But for the most part, these guys only had so many pay-per-view matches with each other. But when they did, I hate to use the word because of Rock, but electrified. They electrified the crowd, man. The crowd was going nuts, and you had everybody cheering for both men. Love watching their matches. Their feud, whether it was the Invasion storyline or for the Intercontinental Championship, if we've seen, or the WrestleMania 17, I need this championship, Rock. I need this. Their feud was just so lifelike because the two guys that were at the same time, going at the same exact time.
Yep.
Thank you very much for my next segue. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, which we've talked about ad nauseum about that feud here. I've talked about their greatest rivalries interview with Jim Ross. We've talked about the Montreal Screwjob, but these are two guys that the rivalry was real to the point that it was spilling out on television as we just watched in 1997. Sunny Days, you're in your gay porn, Playgirl. I mean, he had a lot of, they were taking really shitty jabs at each other, and that's a feud. That's a feud. Tell me you didn't watch each week just for that. I did.
100%.
One that it took Triple H marrying Stephanie, but once he did, his feud with The Rock was pretty good because Rock was the biggest face now at this time, and everyone wanted him to dethrone the regime, the authority figure that is both of them together, the McMahon-Helmsley regime. They did have a good match that we're going to be seeing coming up. I think they have a couple of them in 98 at Fully Loaded and at SummerSlam, but their real feud kicks off when it's for the World Championship, and Triple H really comes into his own and kicks China to the curb. But their matches, I mean, you got Iron Man match, you got Steel Cage matches, you got I Quit matches. They had a lot of matches with each other. So that feud, it seemed like it was a lot of hatred. And to be honest with you, a couple of years back when Rock showed up on SmackDown, him and Triple H had a face-off backstage, and I was like, why am I the only one that thinks this is the obvious route? Have them just face off at WrestleMania. Why does Rock have to face a younger talent and Triple H has to face a younger talent? You guys go at each other, I'll watch. I was happy to see Edge and Orton. You know what I mean? Like, that was great at WrestleMania. It was better than their greatest match of all time thing that they did. But speaking of Edge, I'll be honest, I think Edge elevated John Cena in their feud. I think they elevated each other. It made Edge look like a real dickhead when he's slapping a 65-year-old John Cena Sr. Lita being as, mean and skankier than ever and always getting in the middle of all of, the matches and helping Edge win. John Cena's the choir boy, so it was just really perfect, the feud with each other, but you also started to respect John Cena's work. You started to actually be like, okay, he's got a little more than 5 moves. And it's funny, because as soon as he got that label, it just stuck with that, and people are like, that's all you got. And you're like, well, he did a Hurricane Rana this week. Yeah, he still got 5. Fuck it, he's got 5. The dude probably has, 1,000 moves that he's done over the years, and people are like, he's only got 5. 5 moves from him. That's it. But Hogan has the same setup, too. Clothesline, boot, leg drop. Anyway,
unless he was in Japan.
The last feud I really want to cover is actually one of my personal favorites of all time, and that is Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, that one shocked me.
Yeah, well, and why I put it on there is because it is my favorite of all time, because it was in the early years, but in 1993. Bret just wins the King of the Ring, and Jerry Lawler just gets to WWF for the first time. And after he wins, King comes out and just beats the living shit out of him and crashes on the party, breaks the crown, hits him with the scepter. And they begin a feud that goes for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Even introduces a young Kane. You got Isaac Yankem in there.
Yeah. Yep.
The Kiss My Foot match. Mm-hmm. And why I brought this feud up is someone just was talking the other night about, what are the odds? Twice today I brought up SummerSlam 93, one with Luger. But Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler. If you don't remember this from SummerSlam 93, it's fantastic, and I'll break it down. This is how well this feud was. Jerry is talking weekly about Bret's family, and you know how Jerry gets going about the Hart family. Oh, Martha, she rode a dinosaur, all that shit.
It
right?
lasted a long time, that hatred. I mean, it lasted basically until Bret left.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And that's why the feud, to me, I've always loved it, and that's why it made it into this list today. But my favorite thing is he gets into Michigan. Bret's already in the ring waiting. Lawler comes out talking shit about everybody, including the Hart family. And he says he gets in a car accident on the way here, and he's on crutches, and his knees all banged up because stupid Stu Hart didn't know how to drive. So here's my replacement. Doink. So Bret has to have a face-off with Doink. Bruce Hart's at ringside, so you already know there's a wild cannon behind this whole fucking thing the whole time. And then all of a sudden, Jerry reveals himself that he can fight. And they go, okay, now you do have to have a match. So Bret now pulls double duty. After facing Doink for about a good solid 15 minutes, now he goes against Jerry for another 15 minutes. And gets Jerry in the sharpshooter, wins. And doesn't let go until about 10 refs keep pulling him and pulling him and pulling him. And they reverse the decision, and Jerry Lawler wins. And he gets pulled out on a stretcher with his arm in the air. That's a fucking feud. God, Jerry was so good at it. And like you said, it didn't stop for several years. For 4 or 5 years, all he did was just beat down Bret Hart and his family all the time. It was a big feud and a couple of matches here and there throughout the time. But that one right there was the epitome of, I don't even care if I win the match. I hate this dude so much, I'm just going to keep him in a sharpshooter until you have to carry him out on a stretcher. And they did just that. I'm going to go watch that. That's a good one. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to The Top Topic. Thanks for listening to the Top of Wrestling podcast. I am the Professor. I'll be back next week. ODM is going to be back next week, and we're going to have a movie of the week. We're going to have more Monday Night Wars, and even more, we're going to have our reactions to the Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns world title match this coming Saturday night at Elimination Chamber. Who do you think's going to win? Hopefully it's man, if that happens, you're gonna. It was my
your O face. Yeah, oh, that's great. No, I know. No, it's not, I know what you.
Do me a favor, punch yourself in the throat so you don't talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for listening to the Top of Wrestling. Appreciate that. We'll see you next week. ODM, give them 5 words.
Brother.
The Top of Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by The Top of Wrestling Podcast. Your hosts are the Professor, Mark Fantasia, and ODM, Joe Rizzo, with special weekly segments by Nightwing the Analyst, Rashawn Hilton. Without your continued support, it would just be some guys talking wrestling. Feel free to interact with the show on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and by email at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com.
Thursday, I want to say. They haven't updated the score since Thursday, and they don't post the standings every day. You have to wait till Friday, which they didn't do this past Friday, and it's on their little YouTube show that you have to fucking sift through and wait till they say what the fucking standings are. It's fucking
Are
atrocious.
They on camera?
Oh, yeah, it's a YouTube show. Yeah, it's like they're at a fucking news desk.
You have to send me the fucking link.
Oh, God, it's fucking terrible. I'll send it to you.
Oh, no. I know. I gotta
I'll
see
send
this.
it to you while I'm fucking having a smoke here, dude, because it's fun. Like
Good,
I
it'll
said,
be saved.
I haven't watched it. I just find out where they say the scores. I listen to the standings, and then I turn it off.
Bro.
Terrible, isn't it?
Bro.
It's fucking retarded.
The episode that you sent me, did you watch any of it?
No, I told you. I fucking scroll ahead till I find
No.
it.
You need to at least see something. Dude.
Oh, I saw.
First,
he's wearing the fucking sports coat.
Is Michael J. Fox holding the fucking camera?
Yeah. That's right.
In a thing that you have a background, you should be sitting still. You and your background are floating around.
It's probably their daughter or something.
Oh my God. I got out at the right time, man. I ain't even mad.
Yeah. If I somehow magically come back and win this one, I'm just going to fucking toss the title in a trash can and fucking Medusa it.
Jesus